Guys, so let's get going. Good morning, and we are um, continuing with some more topics left for Azure AZ 104. But the thing is that I still need to, that lab I never had error before. The lab that we did last week. Yeah, we were talking about networking, and I'm just keeping the diagrams here. Yeah. Appearing, we did that. You just need to practice more and more to get confidence. Open some YouTube videos and check how others are doing that, so you can gain more confidence. Oh, that's it. Okay, on-premises to Azure cloud. Yeah, this is the one that I never had error before. So it's understandable that Microsoft always keep changing um, security mechanisms, connectivity protocols, and mechanisms. Microsoft keep changing that from time to time. So this lab, I think I did after 1 year. So by 1 year, by few weeks, Microsoft changes a lot of stuff on their site, cloud side. So when we are doing things, it may have had some more requirements. But I also yesterday was checking one Microsoft lab that Microsoft always gives a lab, step-by-step lab of how to do it, and it's there in the WhatsApp chat as well. I'll just put it here. Um, and I need to follow this and check that what did I do different from this lab? Microsoft lab for um, no, it was actually Hyper-V Azure tutorial. It was replica for replica on premises and cloud. One machine was in the Azure cloud, and one machine was in our Hyper-V environment. But somehow it was not replicating at the end, which is not good. So um, Uh, so I think at that time I also troubleshooted, but then I had to run the whole week. There was so much going on, and job, and then classes, family stuff. So so today, this weekend, I'll try to resolve that. What exactly went wrong? Because I followed exactly the same steps. So this lab, obviously, and in AWS also, I'll be doing the same lab or similar like that, that on-premises to cloud connectivity. AWS course starts today at 3. Okay, so yeah, so this lab, I'll be troubleshooting. A majority of the steps were done. They are exactly the same way, but I'll have to check that what went wrong. Or I'll just share the video, but you can follow all the steps, and maybe it works for you. And so I've seen this many times that students are following the video later as well, again, all the steps, and did some checked YouTube and here and there the latest more steps, and then found out, oh, this is the solution. So that's why I'm saying that. Or last time I was also requesting that if you could also repeat the whole lab again. I did share the previous class video, so we could all work on it together. But the thing is, the error never happened on this lab. I've done it 6 or 7 times before. So Microsoft must have put some new either restrictions or security mechanisms. That replication was not really working. Otherwise, I never received this error before. So that's why I was confidently just clicking the steps after steps after steps, and it was always working. This last year it was working. The year before it was working. This year, it is understandable definitely that Microsoft has may have changed anything. my steps, I've done it so many times that I remember all the steps for this lab that we did last class. So that's why I was amazed that I didn't miss anything and it always worked fine unless Microsoft has put something new. So there's an article that I have also shared in WhatsApp. Is that step-by-step lab Microsoft did the same lab. Microsoft put the documentation for this lab. Um, Normally, I do more than that always, but I'll have to go through this document, and I would request that you can also go through this document and check the video of the previous class as well, which is pretty much the same steps. That what is different. So I will try to also try to do that, and you can also do this. But we were pretty much at the end of the lab in the last class. Okay, guys, but obviously there's just 4 hours only in a week that we're giving, so we have to cover other topics as well. The full video is ready, and by tonight or by tomorrow evening, hopefully, or Monday in at night, at that time you should get a solved lab with whatever new Microsoft has added to this online virtual machine synchronization or replication to our Hyper-V virtual machine that we created in our laptop, that we created in our laptop. Okay. I'm gonna still keep working on it. It's just that too much is going on around job, family, and stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for other topics as well. All the steps for this lab that we did last week are pretty much the same. And anyone can try that. I can just share that video where at the end I got error. But any one of you who can repeat that tab and try to T-shoot as well, then yeah, that would be great. Okay, so let's go ahead and um, I'll be now going for some more topics. Now, those topics are all not related to networking. This was the last lab of networking that I was supposed to offer, but there are many other topics as well that we need to touch and go through and are equally critical. Let's talk about first of all, there is ExpressRoute there, and in ExpressRoute, this is a topic that obviously we cannot implement. It is if my uncle was Bill Gates, then I would have shown you the whole thing by getting a lease line from my house to the nearest Microsoft data center, Azure data center. But Bill Gates, Uncle Bill Gates, said that no, I'm not giving you my money. So let's go ahead, and then we will be talking about databases. Then we will be talking about DNS. And that's the all the things we're going to cover in AWS Solutions Architect Associate as well, because your resume must have Azure plus AWS, because these two really are the most critical ones. In North America, there are so many jobs for these both of these. Anyway, so other than that, there's ExpressRoute, databases, DNS. There's cloud apps, yeah, and monitoring, monitoring. So there are kind of smaller topics, not major, but equally important. Okay, and oh yes, exactly. Nick says in the chat, and the containers. Yeah, I was gonna keep on adding more containers and Kubernetes. Kubernetes. It's like it's more towards understanding the mechanism of containers, and the lab is small, but the theory is big. Not that large, but yes, we do need to understand what are containers and Kubernetes, right? So that these are some of the topics that we need to cover. So I'm just going to go ahead. First of all, there is ExpressRoute. I'm just going to go to my environment. So which one was that? Admin, okay, so let's get going. And well, that's the Office 365. But since I'm logged in now, I can it will log me in from Azure.com as well. Should the same user. All right. Okay. Now, here, excuse me, we will be going through. First of all, it's ExpressRoute. So when we talk about Express route, Express So it goes for ExpressRoute traffic collectors, route filters. There are ExpressRoute circuits, ExpressRoute direct. There are many features about ExpressRoute, and then they have this Azure ExpressRoute connect over a private connection. It's just that you have to invest a lot on this technology, and ExpressRoute lets you extend your on-premises networks into the Microsoft cloud over a private connection with the help of connectivity provider, right? ExpressRoute, you can establish connections to Microsoft cloud services such as Microsoft Azure and Microsoft 365. So the thing is, connectivity can be from any to any IP VPN network, point-to-point Ethernet network, or virtual cross connection to a connectivity provider at a co-location facility. Wow. Okay, I'm going to translate all that in English as well. But access route connections don't go over the public internet. So that's the main thing. First of all, you're avoiding the big jungle, the public internet. In our last class, or the class previous to the last one, we had done a VPN connection, right? A point to site VPN connection. So that was on public internet, right? So we were connecting from our laptop to Azure gateway, VPN gateway. That was a private connection over public network. But here you totally avoid public internet. This allows ExpressRoute connections to offer more reliability, faster speeds, consistent latencies, and higher security than typical connections. When you have your own tunnel, you have your own connection which is not shared with anyone, no matter how secure you are, still public internet is obviously a threat as well. It's a non-trusted network. So when you have your own private network, that is obviously going to be more speedier and more secure. So for information on how to connect your network to Microsoft using Microsoft ExpressRoute connectivity models, then there are ExpressRoute connectivity models as well. If I just, I'll just click that. So there's a co-located at a cloud exchange, point-to-point Ethernet connections, any-to-any IP VPN networks, direct from ExpressRoute site. So overall, how does it really look like? So there's a service provider model, and then there's a direct model. The service provider model is, let me just create that diagram quickly here. And you have your company here, excuse me, and that is Toronto, Toronto branch. And you have a connection with which ISP? You have a connection with, suppose Bell or Rogers, whichever, right? So our branch, and you have a connection with the ISP. It's also a telecom, Bell. And Bell is, I was gonna say, connected to such and such telecom. As Imran says, direct connect like in AWS. Exactly. So AWS also has different models of connectivity. So, but overall concept kind of is same. Um, So direct connect is also, as the name says, it's like express route. So ISP, suppose there's a Bell ISP, this is also a telecom, or it would be connected with telecom. So what happens is that you say that you want to have express route connection. So you would be asking your ISP that, hey, ISP, I want to put my I want to connect to ExpressRoute. So most probably big ISPs, Rogers, Bell here in Canada, they would know what is that, because Microsoft has a deal with them with major telecoms across the planet. So they would say that yes, sure, we're gonna put Microsoft ExpressRoute routers, special routers in our data center, in the ISP data center, and your connection will be you know connected to, actually your connection will be connected to, it will be connected to this ISP lines to the specific express route routers, express route routers, we can say, or devices slash devices, which means that now you're not really connected to the public internet. You are going through or traveling through these specific devices, and it has its own specific connection. Now there could be other ISPs or other telecoms here. Bell itself is a telecom, so suppose you were connected through other ISP which is not also a telecom, then it would be another telecom, and it would you would be traveling, or your connection, wherever there's a hop. Hop means that the next router, wherever you touch a device again, right? So from there, it will try to get you to the nearest Microsoft network, first of all, which is Microsoft dugout line, or maybe it's a submarine cable, but whatever Microsoft network there is, passing by from here, like this, right? With that sound, passing by car. Or there is the nearest Microsoft data center, that Azure data center, maybe nearest wherever the Microsoft data center is. Now here in Canada, we have in Quebec, right? The Central Canadian data center is in Quebec, and then Eastern Canadian, I don't know which is that is, well, it's just a Google search away. But the thing is that uh, Microsoft Azure nearest, that's not the name of the data center, but it's just location, I'm saying, location wise, nearest data center. So you will be hopping through specific Microsoft provided ExpressRoute devices or routers for you, and they will be placed in the gateway on in the data centers of your whichever ISP you have, Rogers or Bell or whichever, and well, whichever support ExpressRoute, right? And then through those routers or devices, you'll be traveling. Maybe there are several hops. Maybe there is another data center of Bell. Then there's another data center of Bell. Then there's another data center of Bell, until it reaches the nearest Microsoft network that is passing by, which is dugout line, or submarine line, or if it reaches the nearest Microsoft Azure data center, from where obviously you're connected to Microsoft anyway, the network. So the thing is that ExpressRoute would be now when we go back here. First of all, this queue diagram here, that also tells that it's a service provider model. So somebody is providing you, if you're not directly connected to Microsoft Network, then somebody is providing you that service. So if we go back here and I put to that and come back, so it's a good read here for ExpressRoute. But I'm planning to, invest on, Bitcoin. And whenever I get really, really rich, I'll show you the whole lab of ExpressRoute. I'm just kidding. Okay. Actually, Bitcoin is not a very nice investment model anymore. Okay. So, yeah. In fact, somebody told me that buy some shitty cryptocurrency, and sit on it. So I bought like 3, 4 years ago Dogecoin. It was like in $100, there were like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Dogecoin. So yeah, it's also not going where. So anyway, here, excuse me. We have this model, and there's that right good read. I'm just going to go back here. So co-located at a cloud exchange, cloud exchange co-location, then point-to-point Ethernet connection. Then there is any-to-any IPVPN connection. But these are all service provider models. Whichever ISP you're connected to, you need to stay connected. That ISP will provide you the network services to really make that connection. If you're co-located in a facility with a cloud exchange, you can request for virtual cross connections to the Microsoft Cloud to the co-location provider's internet exchange. So that very, very difficult wording is, hey, just talk to your ISP. And they could have said that too. Co-location providers can offer either layer 2 cross connections or managed layer 3 cross connections between your infrastructure in the co-location facility and the Microsoft Cloud. So whichever ISP is really helping you, I think if you call from through your company that, hey, do you provide ExpressRoute as well? Oh, how much is it? So you can also check that how your ISP can help you uh, providing this ExpressRoute then. Point-to-point Ethernet connections, you can connect your on-premises data centers or offices to Microsoft Cloud through point-to-point Ethernet links. Point-to-point Ethernet providers can offer layer 2 connections or manage layer 3 connections between your site and Microsoft Cloud. Again, there are devices there, and those are ExpressRoute routers provided by Microsoft to your ISP. And so many companies have already made that ExpressRoute connection because they need a private, fast, reliable line. They don't want to use public internet for their connectivity from their branch to the Microsoft Cloud, right? So, and then there is IPVPN. You can integrate your WAN with the Microsoft Cloud. IPVPN provides typically MPLS. VPN offer any-to-any connectivity between your branch offices and data centers. Microsoft Cloud can be interconnected to your WAN, make it appear like any other branch office. So, any nearest Microsoft Cloud data center could appear as your two branches are connected to each other over the WAN connection, but still it would be that specific line. But other branch would appear like as if Microsoft's branch would appear like, or data center would appear as if you're connected to your other branch securely. WAN providers typically offer managed layer 3 connectivity. ExpressRoute capabilities and features are all identical across all the above connectivity models. So the thing is that either you are connected through point to point. These are just the ways you are connected point to point, again, from one device to another device or the third device, or you're considering the Microsoft uh, data center as the next branch, and you're connected like a branch over the WAN to Microsoft. So that is the way. But again, separate devices, taking your data, avoiding public cloud from your branch to Microsoft Cloud, right? So they are just separate specific connections. They're taking you direct, and then there is direct from ExpressRoute sites. You can connect directly into the Microsoft global network. Now, if your branch happens to be near a global network, you know, then you can directly connect to a Microsoft global network. So I've been showing you that big globe, animated globe, where there are Microsoft lines. Now I don't have that link. I mean, we have to again search Microsoft animated globe. Globe animation power. Seriously, Microsoft Azure animated globe, Azure global infrastructure. Yeah, it was here. And then infrastructure map.microsoft.com. Loading the Azure global infrastructure. Excuse me. Okay, so that's the Microsoft Globe, and you can see those highways, data highways, we can say, or obviously the dugout lines. So the submarine lines as well as land-based lines. But these are some of the lines. As I explore the globe, if we click the explore globe, and then first we do that. So obviously the satellites are also there. Hey, guy, wait for me. Okay, anyway, it was so much fun, right? I can keep doing that all day. Cool. I'm just kidding. Okay, so here you can see across the ocean, there are so many dugout submarine cables that are connecting the continents together, and then there are land-based as well, the lines, and they keep telling that what are their infrastructure made of, and how are they making. So this is Europe. Europe has more business, and then from Europe to North America, they're connected, and you can see then the land-based lines here as well. So if your branch happens to be near the Microsoft Global Network, then yes, you can. Obviously, you're going to talk to Microsoft support that we need ExpressRoute, and then they say that, okay, where's your location? Oh, you're located right above the tectonic plate. No, no, I'm just kidding. I'm sure, I hope your branch is not on tectonic plate. Okay, so your branch is near our passing by line here, right? So the thing is that you could be connected to that line as well, Microsoft Global Network. But the thing is that whichever way you want to connect, it is going to be expensive, but obviously you're going to pay for a very good speed and very good, uh, secure, with least amount of latency, and it's a total private connection. So we can connect through VPN in a private connection, or like private IP, and we did that. Like we connected to the, and we can connect through Bastion host as well. And this is another way that we can connect uh, that MS Azure Globe. See them as well. Like, outside of circus, somebody saying, "See the MS Azure Globe." Okay. Anyway, so the thing is, we need to have an idea about what are the ways that you can actually have a direct connection with Microsoft while avoiding totally the public internet. So this is that. Normally, you just talk to the support, and then they give you the whole map of how we're going to connect your particular branch. You're not near our global network, so we're going to connect you to through your ISP or co-location provider. And we're going to be putting the devices there. They will be responsible. Your ISP will be responsible for those devices. Obviously, Microsoft would have talked to ISP already. These are our routers, and obviously, your company is paying for the whole thing. Now, ExpressRoute provides dual 100 Gbps or 10 Gbps connectivity that supports active-active connectivity at scale. So there would be multiple connections. One connection goes down, the other connection takes up. It's a high availability, highly available connectivity from your branch to Microsoft network. It is dual 100 Gbps. So incoming, outgoing 100 Gbps speed. That's how. Learn more about ExpressRoute connections and routing domains. Learn more about ExpressRoute features, ExpressRoute technical overview, find a service provider. So there you go. Then you can find a service provider that really supports your ExpressRoute connections. Ensure that all prerequisites are met. Then ExpressRoute prerequisites are here. Refer to the requirements for routing. So that's a lot of, uh, you know, if we go to prerequisites here, and then ExpressRoute configure routing, link a VNet to ExpressRoute VNet. So if I just go to ExpressRoute prerequisites, the checklist is you should have Azure account, you should have connectivity provider, okay, talk to your ISP, right? Network requirements, Microsoft 365, and access. So to connect to Microsoft Cloud Services using ExpressRoute, you need to verify that the following requirements listed are met. Microsoft 365 was created to be accessed securely and reliably via the internet. So, guys, this is a very important point. My company, we are also doing, projects, IAM project, Identity and Access Management project. We did where all the identities were supposed to be secure according to Microsoft. In fact, I'm going to be talking about during our security course about CIS benchmarking. This is pretty popular, right? Okay, I can't even write that here. So there's a thing called, some of you might have heard about it, CIS benchmark for security. So this is for security. So there are standards of security that internationally are accepted by um, huge majority of the companies. So those majority of the companies, if suppose you want a standard of, hey, how or Microsoft Azure should be secure. So CIS benchmark would tell that how Azure will be secure, how Microsoft 365 will be secure, how SQL Server, AWS, Google Cloud, it goes on with technologies and features and products, that if you want standard security, internationally acceptable standards of security, if you want, then you go for CIS benchmarking. You can go to that website. I think you can create a free account there. So in our security course, I'll be going through that, and then what happened, in companies, in government companies, institutes, they have to do auditing from security auditing from outside, right? Third party. So our company goes through auditing every 1 or 2 years. So the 2 years back we had auditing, and it was a bad report. At that time, I joined, as a new guy there, new IT senior IT admin. So after 2 years, they did the auditing again, and this time, by that time, we had put a lot of security in place, and this time the result was good and acceptable by all the management. So that was a lot of services we implemented across Azure and Microsoft 365, a lot of security that we implemented. But this is the key word. There's CIS benchmark that you need to understand. During the security course, we're going to talk in depth about this. And I'll share the experience of how our company went through cloud security audit, and they ran a lot of applications, man. But thank God, yeah, we were okay. So anyway, let's keep going ahead. And why I talked about security benchmark, because of this. Guys, suppose somebody leaves, and not leaves, leaves for vacation in your company. You're going for vacation, or your employee is going for vacation to Hawaii, right? Or whichever other place, Mexico. Okay, no, Mexico. Anyway, so to any other safer place. No, Mexico is also good. There you go, Timothy. When are we starting the security course? So, if we are finished with the few topics left that I mentioned today, then yeah, we're gonna start. It's 5 more topics left. So this week, today, if I finish that, then next week we start security. Otherwise, the week after. Okay, guys. So, if your employee is going towards to vacation, so employees do ask that, can we connect to Azure? Uh, so what I tell them, or what is the best way to go for? Can you connect from Azure while on vacation, or connecting from untrusted network, which is internet from hotels, etc. Right? So the thing is that, and that's the same question for, and can you connect from Azure and Microsoft 365 and Microsoft 365. So to understand one thing here, that Microsoft 365, we can connect from anywhere to Microsoft 365, um, to Azure IaaS infrastructure as a service, where it's the whole data center. You can create databases, virtual machines, storage, networking, to Azure. So in order to connect to Azure, you can connect to Azure IaaS. We must use um, Azure VPN or any secure VPN, not the public VPNs like NordVPN. I mean, they're good, but um, go for something mainstream VPNs, right? To Azure IaaS, we must use Azure VPN or any other. So, in last class or our VPN lab, I showed you how to use Azure VPN, right? So that is something you have to just configure that in your VNet and then connect to Azure VPN gateway. But when it comes to IaaS, yes, always connect through VPN. When it comes to Microsoft 365, these are SaaS, and they software as a service, and they are secure. You can connect it from anywhere. You don't need to use VPN to connect to SaaS, right? So that's what Microsoft is saying as well. If I go back here, because of this, we recommend ExpressRoute for specific scenarios for information about using. So they're saying that if you only have Microsoft 365 like Exchange Online, Outlook, and all those online services, SharePoint, Teams Online, and others. So then you don't need ExpressRoute basically if that's the scenario. But if you have Azure data center, yes, then you need ExpressRoute for that. Connectivity provider, you can work with an ExpressRoute connectivity partner to connect to the Microsoft Cloud. You can set up a connection between your on-premises network and Microsoft in three ways. If your provider is not an ExpressRoute connectivity partner, so suppose you're connected through Bell ISP and Bell says, sorry, we don't provide that. You can still connect to the Microsoft Cloud through a cloud exchange provider. So that's another type of provider that you can contact even if your ISP does not support that. And if your connectivity provider is not listed in previous sections, you can still create a connection. Check with your connectivity provider to see if they are connected to any of the exchanges in the table above. You can check the following links too. Okay, so they have given some connectivity providers in every country: Germany, China, US government cloud, national cloud provider, and then there are long list of these providers. I'm just going for Bell or Rogers, right? Yeah, Bell Canada provides. Yay! So this means that if your company has Bell connection, our company has Bell connection, so they can provide. But Rogers is there, or, or, or oh, oh, Rogers is not providing. Seriously, that's why Bell is so famous with companies. Or as Rogers. Okay. Anyway, Rogers Canada, they don't provide express route. That is strange. Okay, but Bell is bigger network, I guess. In my building, Bell sucks. Rogers is good because it provides fiber to home, 1000 GB BS. Okay, so anyway, I said 1000 GB. So then there are more connectivity providers here that you can directly connect to, and then they can see your location and they can provide you some more help on that. Right? Connectivity through satellite operators. Now, if you really are Bill Gates' best friend, then obviously you can go for Intelsat, SES, or Viasat. So satellite providers are also here. Connectivity through additional service providers. And there are third party if they happen to have some kind of infrastructure or rented infrastructure near you, they can give you the express route providing express route services as well. So there are many ways to connect through data centers. There are third-party data centers here as well. I mean, some small company has opened a data center and serving small clients there. You can ask them as well. They are nearest to you and they are Microsoft partners in providing express route connectivity as and well. Okay, so network requirements, redundancy at each peering location. Also requires redundant BGP, border gateway protocol sessions, BGP, right? Be set up between Microsoft routers, and the peering routers on each ExpressRoute circuit, even when you have just one physical connection to a cloud. So what they're saying in English is that there should be multiple redundant connections or connectivity. So suppose if you go to that simple diagram here, you must be connected through two connections here, two outgoing incoming connections here. If one outgoing incoming goes down, then the second one you're still connected through that to the through access road. So it has to be um, always two connections that you're connected to, or redundancy should be there. Redundancy for disaster recovery. Microsoft strongly recommends you set up at least two express route circuits in different peering locations to avoid a single point of failure. Yes. So there are BGP sessions to be set up by Microsoft routers and peering routers on each express route circuit. So the thing is that BGP or border gateway protocol. Now when it says when I'm saying BGP as border gateway protocol, it also has is another abbreviation here as well for that. Routing exchange will be over eBGP protocol. eBGP sessions are established between the so it goes deep down into terminology then that how detailed it would be and what kind of subnetting you want to use for that. Wow, they go really in depth then how to connect the two connections. Obviously, you're not going to be well. It's basically the ISPs, you and the Microsoft support itself will be involved in what IP address ranges are given and how many redundant connections and circuits would be offered there. Then they say that okay, have two full circuits, which is incoming, outgoing, one incoming, outgoing, two routing depending on how you connect to Microsoft Cloud. You or your provider needs to set up and manage the BGP sessions for routing domains. Some Ethernet connectivity providers or cloud exchange providers may offer BGP management as a value add service. So they do offer this service as well. Anyone knows what is BGP? I think there are Cisco gurus here as well. And what does it do when we say BGP? So, Border Gateway Protocol and Border Protocol BGP is a standardized exterior gateway protocol designed to exchange routing and reachability information among autonomous systems. Okay, so what does it mean in English? It means that, yeah, there you go. This is not, COVID-19 model. This is the autonomous system, or, suppose this is your branch, right? Now, your branch needs to know which other branch it is connected to, how many other networks and hops it is connected to. So it is connected to this branch, maybe that's your other branch in New York, and then it's connected to this, connect to different AS number or different companies. Exactly, Marat says that in the chat. So going to know which routes it can take to connect other networks across internet, right? So it will collect routing informations about the surrounding networks. Oh, this is the network. Oh, this network is down actually. Okay, I'm not gonna send my traffic from here to here. I'm gonna send my traffic through another route. So it tries to collect the routing information around the network, and whichever is the reliable route, whichever route is down now, which is the next autonomous system. Whereas the internet is a network of networks. It is broken up into hundreds of thousands of smaller networks known as autonomous systems. Each of these networks is essentially a large pool of routers run by a single organization. So we are all interconnected. And with the help of BGP or Border Gateway Protocol, you are collecting information of your surrounding networks, how many branches, how many ISPs, how many telecoms you're connected to, and the router intelligently then decides which path to take, which path is the easiest one, which path is the faster, more reliable, and secure as well. So it has all this information about the surrounding networks. That's what BGP does, right? So it just gives another example analogy here. When someone drops a letter into a mailbox, the postal service processes that piece of mail and chooses a fast, efficient route to deliver the letter to its recipient. Similarly, when someone submits data via the internet, BGP is responsible for looking at all of the available paths that data could travel and picking the best route, which usually means hopping between autonomous systems. Autonomous systems are just web of lots and lots of routers. You first suppose you're sending data from your house. You will connect to the Rogers ISP or Bell ISP or any other ISP, and then from ISP to telecom to another telecom, then from that telecom to another ISP, and then another ISP, and then the company that you wrote the letter, that network it enters. So this is all Border Gate Protocol simply just you know text that which is the fastest, most secure route to send the data to. So that is about what is BGP. What is BGP? Let's go ahead and NAT. So Microsoft only accepts public IP addresses through Microsoft peering. If you are using private IP addresses in your on-premises network, you or your provider needs to translate the private IP addresses to the public IP addresses using that. So in English, what they're saying is that obviously when you're connecting to your on-premises network and it's inbound and outbound traffic, so the machines here will all have private IPs which are not accessible via internet. So obviously every company has that. You should have then a NAT protocol here that translates the public IP uh, to private IP. So public IP will help outside internet traffic to connect to your branch, and through public IP through NAT, it will be translated to, or data will be sent to all the devices that have private IP, which are not accessible from internet. If your device has private IP, obviously device cannot be accessed over the internet. You have to have a public IP to connect to internet. Right? So yeah, that's pretty much every company has that already. So in QoS, quality of service, Sky for Business has various services, for example, voice, video, text, that require differentiated quality of service, QoS treatment. You and your provider should follow the QoS requirement. So what kind of quality of your service should be, or what kind of standards you should follow when you're sending voice, video, and text. So these are some of the prerequisites of this ExpressRoute, right? Network security. Consider network security when connecting to Microsoft Cloud via ExpressRoute. So network security, obviously, for ExpressRoute, you should just check that what kind of security you can access control, and we've talked about that, and we're going to be talking about that afterwards as well in our security course. Let's go ahead. Now we kind of understand overall that okay, we need a service provider for ExpressRoute, and the service provider model through an ISP we can connect, and there are different ways to connect. And or if we happen to be near that Microsoft global network, then we can connect directly to that. Microsoft obviously will Microsoft tech support will help you do that. You just need to pay a lot of money and then see how magic happens. And Microsoft technical support connects your whole branch or branches to Microsoft network to ExpressRoute, right? Okay. So that's overall what we can talk about ExpressRoute. And otherwise, then there are these interfaces, ExpressRoute circuits. Use ExpressRoute to set up a fast private connection to Microsoft Cloud services from your on-premises infrastructure or location facility. You can create a connection between your on-premises network and the Microsoft Cloud in three different ways. And yes, that's what we just talked about. If I go to create ExpressRoute circuit, then next month I will have thousands of dollars of bill here. So obviously, I would not want that to happen. I think I have from last week since I was troubleshooting, so I didn't delete that network. I'll just go for test configuration type, create new port from classic provider. Who's your provider? And that's all the ISPs. Oh, there you go. Bell Canada is here. I am connected to Bell actually. Anyway, so you just need to so peering location, bandwidth you are requesting. It's 10 Gbps you want or 550 Mbps you want. Suppose you go for the full one, and then there is premium as well. SKU and the premium provides support for more than 4K routes, 4,000 routes, ability to connect to more than 10 virtual networks and global connectivity. Premium also gives you access to your services deployed worldwide, while local, if available, provides free egress. Ingress and egress. Anyone knows what is ingress and egress? They are very good friends, I can tell you that. Ingress, egress, anyone knows? Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Nobody said it actually. So, yeah. So it's ingress is traffic in. Okay, Leonard says that. Egress is traffic out. Exactly. Yeah. So this is it. Egress traffic. So provides egress traffic data transfer and gives you access to only 1 to 2 Azure regions in the same metro as your circuit. So inbound and outbound, exactly. So egress and ingress also is inbound and outbound. But the thing is that you can go premium or you can go standard or local. It's just how far reaching you want to be. And then it is billing model is metered or unlimited. Wow, limited in Bill Gates. Okay. Elon Musk, I should be, referencing him. He's much richer. Even after a big loss, he's still rich. Oh, classic operations, and then there is allow the circuit to interact with classic RDFE resources. Use this setting if you plan to connect to resources deployed in the classic model. We're not using classic model. We're not even finishing this. We don't have a route connection anyway. But this is how it looks like when you start going. They ask for ISP, which ISP you're connecting to, and peering location, also Montreal, Toronto, Quebec City, Vancouver. So these are where, hey, so Toronto has an Azure data center. Here, okay, I'll search that. We are in Toronto, right? So I never knew that Toronto exactly, the Toronto city has Azure data center, but obviously this is Bell Canada, not actual Azure data center. This is Bell Canada. Obviously, Bell Canada offices are here. And Bell Canada offices will have your devices connected. So it's in 4 cities here. Okay, so that's how it is. You connect to your Bell, you see that what speeds you want, and then your ISP will connect you to ExpressRoute this way. Right? I close that because I don't want to pay thousands of dollars for nothing. And obviously, I don't think ExpressRoute is connected with residential areas. It connects with commercial branches or areas. Okay, so let's go back. So this is overall what I we can discuss about ExpressRoute, and I've put some links on related topics as well, and you can just make do some good reading there. So whichever lab is possible, I try to do that. But otherwise, we discuss it and move on and go ahead. So then we're going to go for now databases. And databases, where we need to actually create a database. We're going to be connecting to a database from our laptop. This is going to be not, no, it's not going to be SaaS based, although there would be certain SaaS based as well, like software as a service. But we're going to actually create a database, a SQL server, a database in Azure Cloud, and then we're going to connect from here in our laptop to that database, right? So there are many types of databases there in the cloud. And if we go ahead, Azure provides that, AWS provides a long list of database services. Obviously, this is a very big market, and pretty much every company has databases of certain type. Suppose your company always had been sticking with Oracle database. Uh, Oracle also is in the cloud separately, but Oracle databases are provided on AWS and Azure both. Google Cloud as well, right? So if we go for databases, so there is if I go to all services and then there's SQL databases here, right? But if we control F that and database, so databases. Azure Cosmos DB, SQL databases, Azure database for MariaDB. So there are many types of many companies. When I started learning cloud, then I realized that there's a database product called MariaDB as well. So there will be Trump DB as well, right? Maybe or Trudeau DB. So yeah, anyone can name anything, obviously. Azure Synapse Analytics is also related to database and analytical applications. SQL Server stretch databases, virtual clusters, SQL managed instances, Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB. Oh, Mongols used to have DBs as well. It's not Mongols related, but it's MongoDB. Azure Database for MySQL servers, SQL servers, Azure Database migration services, data factories. That's pretty expensive thing, but obviously you collect a lot of data there for analytical purposes. Managed databases, SQL virtual machines, uh, Azure SQL, Azure Database for PostgreSQL, free one, dedicated SQL pools. This is you have a lot of databases and you want still to have some discounted rates, then you can do that. Azure Cache for Redis. Cache is for Redis is actually um, like you can read faster. So cache just means that you save frequently accessed data, so it could be read faster. Right? So then there's SQL Elastic Pool. Elastic Pools is again a package for saving your money when you're using a lot of database bases for long time. So you can save a lot of money by using elastic pools as and well. Um, hmm, there's something in WhatsApp. Cloudflare. Yeah, that's what is BGP? Okay, great. Thank you, Naveen. Sorry, just saw that. Okay. And there is SQL Elastic Pools, and then there's Elastic Job Agents. So when it comes to Elastic Pools and Elastic Job Agents, it's all about saving money in terms of CPU charges and RAM and storage. Right. So what we're going to do is we will be going through an Azure database overview, um, and then we're going to go for uh, uh, you know. Uh, creating a database and connecting to a database. And we're going to make one table or another database as well. So Azure database and so obviously types of databases on Azure, there's that which we have gone through as well. And Azure SQL database, Azure SQL managed. So these are all those that I just read, or many of those. And which ones are relational databases, which ones are NoSQL databases. So need those are also shown here. Relational database and NoSQL databases. There's a bit difference in that too. So first of all, what is database? Database just saves a lot of data, for you, because companies have the most critical thing, and that is called data. And it's a data driven economy, and it's all critical data. Suppose there's a critical data of a company and it is stolen and shared with rival companies. Suppose it's the data is about all the clients that the company has and used, and somebody steals it and sells it to the other rival company. The rival company purchases the data from hackers, and that they see that, oh, these are the clients and they are offering this much prices to those clients, and your rival company actually then offers or lesser price than you are offering, and then your company goes down. Why? Because your data was stolen. So the whole company can go down. Thousands of people could get jobless. So that's how that's how critical it is. So when you are say creating a lot of data, you have a lot of data, you need to save it somewhere. So then you do that on databases, right? And then there are relational databases and NoSQL database. So relational databases are a bit more complicated, and you have a virtual machine here, there where you install databases, and then inside the database there are tables, and inside the tables, obviously you have rows and columns, right? Rows and columns. So in rows and columns, all your data is stored. So there are lots and lots of tables there. One table is about employee benefits. Other table is about uh, employee salary structure or human resources. Third table is about the joining and how many years which employee has passed in the company, or anything else about that. So those tables are all related to each other, connected to each other. So suppose there is data about all employees here. So there's user John here. Now this is all about this table is all about benefits, what benefits each employee is having, while this is about salaries, suppose. So this table is all about salaries, and this table is all about what equipment users have been given by the company. And suppose this is how it is, right? Now you have a query here, and you want to know about only John's benefits, salaries, and what equipment was given to John. So the query will go through this table and only extract John's information from here regarding benefits, and then it will go to this table and only extract John's information about in terms of salary, and then to this table only about John, what equipment John has been given, the laptop, and whatever else the company has given. So these tables, there could be thousands and thousands of tables, and those tables can um, take they are all related. So this is called relational databases, and you can grab a lot of information from there in the form. It is more more investment is especially you hire a DBA for that, database administrator, to manage all that. And then you also, these databases are connected to some kind of applications. Those applications are um, where the users are connected. So suppose these are applications or these are websites. In the backend of the website are databases. So whichever, maybe thousands of users are connecting and they're becoming members of your website. Thousands of users are connected, and they are connecting to your applications. So those applications are getting a lot of data. That data has to be saved somewhere. Or on the website, so many users have become member of your website. So that membership information has to be saved somewhere and retrieved from somewhere. So that's your backend databases where they are saved in different tables. Okay, this table is just for users who have just joined in. This table is for users who have gone to next stage or who have purchased some products there. If it's a game. So the thing is, overall, it's a bit more complicated. A DBA is supposed to be hired and needs to um, maintain the whole databases. There, you can make redundant databases there. In one machine, there could be five databases. Another machine, the backup standby five databases you can create. So then there is no SQL databases as well. That is just one table with rows and columns that uh, grows and grows. So you can suppose you have created an app in a cell phone that is so viral, or you have created a game in a cell phone or internet that has gone viral. There are millions of users now playing your game that you created, or millions of users who are using your app here. So those millions, so before, so first you create an app or game, you connect it to a table, right? And there are like 10 users daily joining or 50 users daily joining. So the table grows and grows, and then those they're playing games, so different levels of games they are on. That information is also then it goes viral, and millions of users are connected now, and they are on different stages. I play that eight pool game, eight pool billiards. No, eight pool table. So maybe there are thousands and thousands of users connected there, right, to that game. Um, so this table grows fast. If you need something that is going to grow faster, expand faster, you go for NoSQL, and then whatever information is put on very large scale, it grows up to that very large scale, but they're not any multiple tables it needs to connect to. It's just one big table that it puts information in and retrieves the information from. So that's kind of something that about databases in terms of categories, how they work. You need to know. Now let's just create a database and check it out how it really works. Uh, this also needs to be copied and hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and create a database. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and create a database in Azure. We're going to download a client for database in our laptop. We're going to connect from that client to that Azure database. And we're going to create another database inside. We're going to create another table inside just to give you an idea about the inside of the database as well. So let us get going. Okay, so here, if we go back here to all services, I'm just going to go to the top of it, and either you can go from here, portal menu, to SQL databases, and there is also SQL Server as well. And SQL databases, yeah, there it is. So if I just type SQL here, SQL, structured query language, SQL, structured query language. So structured queries are put there, and you make a query about, okay, I need this information. It is retrieved there, right? It's kind of that. Okay, SQL databases, SQL servers, SQL Elastic pools, SQL managed instances, SQL virtual machines. It goes on SQL. It is also called SQL, but those who are DBAs or database administrators, they don't like that when somebody calls it SQL. Hey, it's not SQL, it is SQL. Anyway, so now what happens is either you can create a SQL server now, which is just a virtual machine with few requirements like what CPU, what RAM, and then you can attach the SQL server to a database. First, you create a SQL server, you can do that, and then you create a database, or you can create a database first, and during the creation of the database, you can create a SQL server as and well. So what we can do is we can just go through this. We're going to create a SQL server first. So if I just go to the diagram, what I mean by that is obviously a database has to be inside some kind of server, some kind of virtual machine. So uh, either you can create a SQL server first and then the database, or you can create a database and then it will still ask, hey, you're creating a database here, but where's the SQL server to which it's going to be attached to? Then you have to create a SQL server during the creation of the SQL database, right? So SQL server and then the SQL database. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to create a SQL server now and then attach a database to it. We're going to be actually putting some information inside. So they do ask that you want a sample database or a blank database. I'm going to go for sample database where there's a lot of tables already created, and those tables are full with information, right? Some kind of information. So Microsoft offers those sample databases as well, just for you to play around the database as well. Maybe you want to practice some queries, so you need to have data. Run queries against right? Okay, so let's get going. So I'm in SQL Server here. I'm going to click the create button, and there you go. So it's today's RG or resource group that we're going to create. I'm gonna click create new, and it's RG 14 Jan 2023. Okay, and then we're gonna go for. You can see that over the internet globally, you can access this SQL server. So there's a .database, .windows, .net also written there. Database.net, right? So that we're going to create a SQL server here, and oh, I should be putting all the features there um, in WhatsApp as well. Okay, so server name here, database, and then there's that. You can just put anything here, any name here, obviously. So suppose it's sales DEPD SQL, but it has to be unique, obviously. So I'll go for 14 Jan 23, and then I'll go for even more uniqueness. So I'll go for jalebi. Okay, that's a sweet thingy that some of us eat, and it's pretty sweet. Yeah. We go for jalebi. Try this. Sweet. So this is how it is. It's round, 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 round. It's so tasty. Let's not talk about that. Okay, so here, East US, no, we're going for Canada Central. Yeah, Central. Okay, and so remember that database has to be Canada Central as and well. Um, And yes, we're connecting through use only Azure Active Directory Azure Authentication. Use both SQL. So, when you create a SQL server, though, so there's a SQL SQL Server level, authentication that only SQL Server is giving you authentication, or there could be Azure AD that whichever users are in Azure Active Directory, they can also connect to SQL Server also. Or just SQL authentication. This means that you can only use SQL Server authentication and nothing else. So we're going to stick to use only Azure Active Directory authentication. Okay, we can change that later as well if there's a problem. Set Azure admin. So yeah, I'm going to set admin here. And that admin is the currently logged in user admin at CEA. Okay, admin. And yep, there we go. So select. And so object ID, app ID for the admin is there, and networking. Firewall rules allow Azure services and resources to access the server. So obviously you need to go for protection of SQL Server with the help of firewall rules. Oh, Navi says it's not accepting server name. There's no option for location. Nick says, why? Tell me why. Like there's no option for location, and it guys try to be unique. Something that nobody had given a name for, and SQL Server. So Nick, try to check that if you have exactly this SQL Server you're going through or SQL database. So please, how do I get access to the last classes, Leonard? Leonard, on WhatsApp, you can just put that message. Please give me access to the last classes, and I'll add you to that LMS base course where all the previous videos are. Okay, so mm, so Naveed, yeah, it has to be unique name. Nick, I have to create a server. Yeah. So Nick, have you selected SQL database or SQL server? Excuse me. If I go back here, SQL server, I click create. Well, I'll go here and type SQL, and then I'm not selecting SQL databases. I'm selecting SQL servers. Once I go to SQL server, then I create SQL server. Should have that. Every Azure has this. So, oh man, why did I not save it? Save the name. Okay, anyway. So it's suppose it's MKD Marketing DPT Department, and then 14 Jan 23, and jalebi. When following, do not write jalebi. Just go for samosa, pakoda, or something, right? These are our just snacks, sweet and spicy. Okay. But Nick, you should be able to do that. Let me know if you don't. So yeah, go for any unique name. Otherwise, you won't be able to put it. And yes, do not put caps. It's only lowercase. There is no space there. Um, and can we put hyphens? Yes, we can put hyphens as well. E3 jalebi. That's even better. No. All right. So then Canada. So Central Canada. Yes. Maybe Central Canada. Canada Central. Or wherever, whoever's following from wherever, right? So then you have to go for the either if the region is in your country, otherwise nearest country, right? All right, guys. So if you go ahead, then there's use only Azure Active Directory, Azure AD authentication. And for this is I simply put sales department 14 January 7. Yep. So now if somebody else puts that, it will be a problem. So whoever takes whichever name first, yeah, it's okay. Set admin here. I'm just gonna click that set admin. Obviously, it's a currently logged in user here, which is admin. This one. So admin and select, right? And That's it. Once we set admin, we go to network and working, and then we go for. We're not going to press yes to the firewall rules because we're gonna do all kind of firewalling in security course that is going to be either next week or the next week. I'm just going to go ahead and click additional settings. Uh, so this is I don't get any admin. For set admin. So if I go previous, this is for set admin. So guys, if you can go way down. So for the, maybe you're seeing this way. If you scroll down, it's the last one. Uh, and set admin is if I click the set admin, yes, I'm better go for the currently logged in user. Right? This is the currently logged in user you see here, and just type exactly that name again, and then select that name, currently logged in user. Or admin. It has to be admin is Andre enter. Okay, so there's a screen here, and if we go there, so you have to see what user you're logged in from, and then type that username. So you have to go up here, this area, and check, which I was showing you just now in my screen as well. And hopefully you have gotten it. What this is, but yes, but logged using personal account and it is not letting me choose it. No, no, it has to be Azure Active Directory account. Azure Active Directory. Why would you log into personal account? But when you log into Azure, it has to be some kind of admin, right? So it has to be admin account. Like the user that created this whole uh, Azure subscription. All right. Okay. So but if you're going logged in through like Hotmail, Yahoo, um, no, that's not going to work. Outlook.ca or Gmail. So you have to have something from Azure Active Directory. So create one. You can even create now Azure Active Directory and give it global admin privileges. Right? And then select that. Okay, I'm choosing any Anthony Wayne, the previous one. Okay, and make sure. Well, yeah, he's an admin of databases as well, or he's a global admin. Right? We know how to give roles to a user, so that's pretty easy. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for networking, and there's nothing in firewalls for now. Additional settings, and there is Microsoft Defender for SQL. That's another security package. Get started with a 30-day trial, free trial period, and then $15 server per month. So obviously, we're not going to go for the Microsoft Defender for SQL, but in a security course, I'm going to show you what is that. Tags, nothing in the tags, or maybe department, sales, branch, Toronto, manager, John, whatever you can put there in that. Review plus create, we go there, and product details, SQL database server by Microsoft, estimated cost per month. So that's it. And I'm going to click the create. Okay, so once it is created, Okay, guys, so this is just a SQL server. We're gonna be creating the SQL databases as well, database as well. So once it is created, then we can create a SQL database. Um, Also, we need to uh, install SSMS, right? SQL Server Management Service. Okay, so SQL Server is created. Now we're going to go for SQL Database. So SQL Server is created. So if I go to search, this is SQL Ser and Ver. I'm just going to click SQL Server, and there is our SQL Server here, Canada Central, Azure Subscription 1. Resource group is this, right? That's the name of the SQL Server. So now I need to create a database and attach it to this SQL Server. So I'm going to go to the search. Actually, database is here as well in portal menu. There's that SQL databases. We can go from here as and well. Let's go for SQL databases here. And once we are here, try changing or clearing report. Okay, so I'm just going to go for create SQL databases. Excuse me. Once we go for create SQL database, so it's 7 Gen. No, it's serious. It's not showing me the resource group for today that I created. Did not create 14 Gen resource group. SQL Server asked for a resource group, and I did create. Anyway, I could just create it. Okay, let me just check that resource group. I'm going to go to the resource groups here. I should have. I did not create a resource group. It didn't ask for a resource group. How is it even possible? Okay, if I go to the SQL Server, it's not part of any resource group here. SQL Server. I go to SQL Server. Oh, I just added it to the previous resource group. Okay. I thought, oh yeah, I did before. Then there was a question I canceled, and then I went come back. I did not create the new resource group. Anyway, so this is just me. I'm gonna go for SQL databases now. SQL database is on portal menu, and there is the SQL database. I'll go for create SQL. Okay, so Fahad says, sir, to clarify, you created a SQL server and now creating a SQL database to connect. Exactly. Yes. Yes, Fahad. So SQL server was created. Let's create SQL database. Once we create that, major steps. Okay, so there's let's create a SQL server. Let's create SQL database and attach it to a SQL server. Let's um, download and install SMS latest, which is SQL Server Management Service. The client through which you connect to SQL Server. Without this, you can't connect. Right? So SMS latest on our laptops. And this is SQL Server Management Service. SQL Server Management Service. For this says, did you use sample or none in a DB additional settings? Um, huh? I did not. I just kept it default for this, so it was default. Whatever is there. Fahad says you choose the free trial right for the server. Yes, I actually I don't have a free trial. I am on pay as you go. But if you see a free trial, wow, go for it. Amazing that you have a free trial because it's for me. It's been very long since I saw a free trial for me. So I'm always on pay as you go. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's download and install as yeah, we're doing this way. I'm just gonna go ahead and go for databases. The option came during the setup. Okay, wow. I mean, that's amazing. Okay, I'm just gonna go for this resource group and the database name, guys. So the database name is obviously different from SQL Server name. One SQL Server can have multiple databases. Uh, okay, yeah. So the fact is, I thought you went really quick, so I didn't see it. Okay, yeah. Now I'm wondering maybe that option was there. Oh, free trial. There was one option that was for Microsoft Defender, but that I did not take. Microsoft Defender, I did not take. If it was, yeah, there was a free trial option for Microsoft Defender. I thought the free trial for the whole thing, or for the whole thing. So I did not take that Microsoft Defender. Because it's a 30-day free trial. Even if you take it now, we're gonna delete it today anyway. So yeah, even if you've taken it, it's okay. It doesn't matter. They're not gonna charge you. I didn't take it because we're gonna cover it in security. Cool. So let's go ahead, guys. Database name is so it could be DB 01 MKT. You can just name it anything. MKT Marketing Department Database One. It could be any other name as well. But it's like one SQL Server database 1, database 2, database 3, database 1, database. So you can have here multiple databases, right? So database 2, database 3, database 4, So we're just having one database here. But later when we are connected, I'm going to show you how to create the database from inside a SQL Server as well. Okay, so this is DB01 MKT department, MKDEPT01. So there's a suggestion there. Okay, DEPT01. Yeah, we can do that too. Actually, it's DB01, right? 01, it's database we're counting. Department is only one. There were multiple marketing department 1, marketing department 2, marketing department 3. So there could be only one marketing department in a company, right? But databases could be more than one. That's why I went for that. So here, want to use SQL Elastic Pool. So guys, this is very, very interesting. And you should know about this. It's very important. So let's go for what is pool. Elastic pools provide a simple and cost-effective. So simple and cost-effective solution for managing the performance of multiple databases within a fixed budget. There you go. Within a fixed budget. That is where the emphasis are. Right? In a fixed budget. So if you want to save money, you can go for the elastic pool. You define a budget, they stay within the budget, they don't let you use better performance because they suppose you want a better performance at certain time of the day or certain time of the week. There are so many users and more CPU and more RAM is needed and it has to go up. But then they see, oh, your budget is like $500 per month or $1,000 per month or $5,000 per month. And there's so many users which are connected to the database or so many applications that are connected to the database that the CPU and RAM, more CPU and more RAM is needed, but it's not going to go more. It's going to stay within your budget. If you don't use this elastic pool, then whenever there's a huge amount of applications or users connected and it needs a huge amount of CPU and RAM, so it's gonna go that way. It's gonna just let the users have enough CPU and RAM to do their task, right? But then you'll get more billing. Maybe you were earning a lot because of so many users and applications connected. You were running a lot, so it's not gonna let you. It's not gonna perform good. It is okay. Suppose you don't expect a lot of users, it's okay. Suppose sometimes there's a lot of users that need to connect and you want them to connect as well. because maybe you're earning, or maybe it's a very business critical work that thousands of users are connecting to. So in that case, or you can just put a bigger budget here, or don't use elastic pool. I'm going to go yes here to want to use an equal elastic pool, so I could show you what it is. Then there is workload environment. Is it production environment or is it development environment? So if we go for development, it's it's like a test environment. You can do whatever you want, and you would not want it to be expensive. You want it to be kind of you're testing. So why are you charging us a lot? So it could be lesser charge. But if it's production, you really want everything to be perfect, and the performance and everything, security have to be perfect. So this means that the default settings provided for production workloads, configurations can be modified as needed. So there you can't afford to have any mistake. Development, yes, it's like you can do whatever you want. It's testing environment, right? Okay, suppose we go for production here. Set elastic pool. So we haven't set any elastic pool. We're going to create one. So I'm just going to go for. So now hopefully you understand the purpose. Okay. Ron says in the chat, DB server normally requires replication and backup services, by the way, between different premises. Requires replication and backup services. Yes, you're right. So that is also the case. Other than that, when it is connected and applications are dumping a lot of data, that also is where the DB services get busy, right? So then they need underlying hardware for that. Okay, so I'm going to click that create new, and then we can just give some name here for the Elastic service. So I'm just going to go for MKD DEV, make it development. Okay, well, actually, yes, we can make it development. You can go ahead and make it development. It's going to be pretty much the same. MKT DPD. So whatever you want to name, go for it. And okay. We give the correct, I gave the correct resource group. Yeah. Okay. Now here, it says standard series Gen 5 2 V cores 32 GB 0 databases. So compute plus storage. What do you need? Elastic Pool is asking compute plus storage. Compute is CPU, right? It's the performance. So configure Elastic Pool. Let's go ahead and see the inside of the Elastic Pool. So if I go configure Elastic Pool here, then it says select from the available tiers based on the needs of the workload. The vCore model provides a wide range of configuration controls. Alternately, the DTU model provides set price performance packages to choose from for easy configuration. So the thing is that there's a DTU model and there's a vCore model. So what's the difference between a vCore model and DTU model, right? So vCore model provides wide range of configuration control. So configuration is, I want 10 vCores or 128 vCores or CPU power, processor power, and a lot of storage as well, and RAM as well. So you can make a lot of configurational controls here. You basically need performance here, vCore. DTU model provides set price performance. So this is where I was talking about that. You set a price there, it's gonna perform within that price. Suppose there's heavy load and it needs more CPU cores, it's not gonna use that, because if using more CPU core adds to the price, you've already set the price. Hey, don't go more than that, even if it's needed. So it's about your budget and about your business needs. It's a fine line between that. You need to decide which model you want to take. Maybe there's always a steady performance of databases. In that case, you can go for DTU, which will save money as well. Okay, so this is service tier, and then there is vCore based purchasing model, general purpose, scalable compute, and storage options. So vCore is again these are two options for vCore. General purpose is scalable compute. Oh, my processor needs to be more. processing more requests as well. Maybe there are hundreds, sometimes thousands of users are connecting, or applications are connecting, or there's again backup going on, replication going on as well. In that case, uh, my processing might go higher. So this means if your processing keeps going higher and higher, then goes down and then goes up and then goes down and then goes up, so you can go for vCore model. You need performance when it's needed. Or business critical, yes, it is very high transaction going on. I need all the power, horsepower I can get. This is that, right? Then comes your money saving options there, DTU based, basic for less demanding workloads. You don't have a lot of traffic there, not much is going on. So it's basic, standard for workloads with typical performance requirements. So there are, oh, I need a certain level of processing or vCores, virtual cores, and a certain storage and certain RAM. So I need all that. A premium for IO intensive, input output intensive workload. So you're reading, you're writing, you're reading, you're modifying, you're doing search queries, thousands of users are searching inside. So then you go for this, but still it's going to try to save your money, even if it's IO intensive. So Navi says workload is the load of work. Workload is a lot of load of work. What does load of work means? Workload is that users are connecting and they are just saving files and oh, don't want to open now. Uh, so workload is that so many users are connecting. So many applications are connecting. You have a huge workload and they are reading and reading. So writing or modifying it writes on the database and files, and reading is something is being retrieved. So that is called workload, right? So a lot of work. Imran says web server related work. Exactly. So databases are always in the back end, right? Back end of the network, right? They are back end. There's a front end. Front end is some application, right? So front end is an app web server, as Imran said. It is some kind of other application, like hospital application, if it's a hospital, or maybe a insurance company application, and maybe insurance. Suppose it's insurance company applications. There are thousands of users which are connecting to the insurance company, and they are uh, saving their premium or policies they are downloading from. They're putting some claims there, so everything is a data, right? So it has to be saved somewhere. So application then connects to multiple databases there, and those and there somebody is retrieving, what kind of policies I have. So that will be reading. So that would be retrieved and sent to the user, and then user is making some changes there, and I have a claim. I want to put a claim. So when the claim is done, the presses OK, is saved in the databases and can be retrieved from by the insurance company employees to read. Oh, there's a claim there. Okay, let's process that claim. So front end are always applications for the end users, clients, and backend is databases where everything is being saved and is handled by DBAs or administrators, admins, company employees retrieve it, but admins maintain it, right? So that's how it goes on. But SQL servers are backend soldiers. Right. So this is how it goes. I'm just gonna go for basic for less demanding workloads, and their eDTUs, their 50 DTUs that it says here. The maximum data storage capacity is 4 GB, but if you go ahead, you can see that the data capacity also goes 40 GB and 1600 DTUs. It gives you cost per DTU in US dollars, 1.62 US dollars per DTU. So when you spend all this, uh, then this much will be charged, 1600, and it gives, so this will total will be 2589 US dollars and 35 cents. So I'm just going to stick to the basic one, which is just giving me 5 GB of space, and it's going to stay that way. If I needed more space or CPU, it's not going to go more because I have said that this is what I can afford. Now, so reserved. Okay, I'm just going to click that learn more here. There's a question that what is DTU, right? And sometimes I also forget the abbreviation. So, and I remember, yeah, there you go. Database transaction unit. So transaction in database going on. So this means that how many transactions are going on in a database. Transaction is you're either reading from the database or writing to database. Right? So that is a database transaction unit or DTU. Right? Bundled measure of compute, storage, and I/O resources. So it's a bundle of CPU, RAM, how much you're going to use, and how much storage you will need. It's a combination of all those. So this just explains the whole thing. What is vCore, what is DTU, and database transaction unit. And this is good read, so I'm just gonna put that here. Major steps and there's major step is here, right? Just put here. What is DDU and vCore? So that just explains it all. Let's go ahead. Database transaction unit, and transaction is just input output. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, guys, I'm going for the least amount here, and it's going to be per month $80 for companies. It's nothing, but obviously it's offering nothing as well. 4 GB, I mean, you yawn, and then 4 GB is over, right? So 4 GB is nothing, 5 GB. I'm just going to click apply here for, oh, there's a pool settings here, then there's a per database setting. So suppose your databases are big enough and databases performance are needed as well. So you can go for the, okay, my database is this. It's just offering 5 DTUs, which is 80 US dollar, which is, oh, it's not even, okay. The maximum number of resources an individual database can consume must be greater than 0, obviously. But it goes 5 DTUs. How about 10? Nothing. It doesn't let me. Anyway, because I chose here this, so per database, it's just not going more than 5. Suppose I go for 39, then I go per database. Uh, it's still not moving, really. Okay. Mhm. Okay, so it's not different. So it just makes, when you go to DTU and you have basic offers database 5 DTUs. That's it. Database transition unit, which is a bundle of CPU, how much CPU you're going to use, how much memory you're going to use, how much storage you're going to use. So basic doesn't give much. Okay, anyway, I'm going to click apply here. This is the basic one, basicest one actually. So then we go down here, choose how your, so backup storage redundancy. It increased to 10. When you change it, let me say this. Wow, it didn't like me this means. Well, when you change from basic to standard, then it increase, right? So standard, and then yes, it goes 10. Yeah, basic, it would stay there. Premium, we go, then there's this 25 DTUs, and premium, it shows zone redundancy as well, that in multiple zones, your databases will be copied. Basic, no redundancy in one availability zone. Standard, no redundancy, just one availability zone, but size increases of transactions, and premium is zone redundancy. Exactly, that's a good point there. So This is premium, and yeah, premium just goes for more, much, much more. Well, then why don't we just check that out as well? vCore general purpose. Now it says that what do you want? So hardware configuration up to 128 virtual cores, up to 625 GB memory. So that's a lot of huge memory and cores in terms of processing. So already have a SQL Server license. Save with the license you already own with Azure Hybrid Benefit. So there's some deal there. And actual savings may vary based on the region and performance. Select the hardware configuration based on your workload requirements, availability of compute optimized, memory optimized, and confidential computing hardware depends on the region, service, and compute tier. So I can just move this, how many cores I need, but this is, sheer performance. I mean, like, really need performance, you go for the business critical. Also, you can go 28 cores and maximum 4 GB, 4 terabyte. Here you can go, right? I'm just gonna stick to the poor one, basic, and apply. And okay, guys, so we understand that what is elastic pool here. No backup storage redundancy. Choose how your PITR and LTR backups are replicated, geo restore, or ability to recover from regional outage. So Canada Central whole region has an outage. Suppose it's not available anymore. So your databases will still be available in Canada East or any other region. So geo redundant, it is on geo redundant right now. Right? Okay. I'm going to go networking here. And when it comes to networking, configure network access and connectivity for your server. And the configuration selected below will apply to the selected server and all databases it manages. So there is that firewall rules you want, private endpoint, you want to connect to some a resource group, a separate region. Okay, guys, just give me a second here. Right, guys, so I'm continuing with that. There is a private endpoint that we can connect to. If I click the add private endpoint, then it asks that, what's the subscription, which region it is, and name, target sub resource. Is it a SQL server that you want to connect to? And that's only because database can connect to a SQL server, right? So which VNet that the SQL server is inside, what is the subnet name of that, and or do you need DNS services? So if we have another SQL server here, we can just name it anything. Suppose we created another SQL server and you want this database to connect to actually that SQL server, you can go for private endpoint. I'm just going to discard that. And connectivity policy, set default connection policy. The settings displayed below are read-only, can be modified from the firewalls and virtual networks. So we haven't configured firewall, but then you can see that how connectivity will be done to the database. Is there a proxy server that is being used? We're just using DSL router, right? So we don't have proxy server. Interpret connections. The settings displayed below are read-only. They can be modified through firewalls and virtual networks. So we haven't touched that. Played for the selected server after database creation. Minimum TLS version is 1.2. So yes, your data that is traveling will be encrypt and TID. So security. Then there is Microsoft Defender for SQL. Protect your. So this Defender, whenever you see Defender, it's always a collection of security tools. Defender is just a collection of security tools, and it says 30-day free trial. Start free trial. I didn't change that last time as well. So even if it starts, I'm just gonna delete the whole database today. So it's there for 30 days. It's okay. Ledger cryptographically verifies. What is Ledger? Ledger cryptographically verifies the integrity of your data and detects any tampering that might have occurred. So this is a service that you can also, configure and activate for your database if you want. But it just cryptographically verifies the integrity of your data. Did somebody change the data, or did somebody tampered your data? So data tampering is something that you will be protected from. Okay, cryptographically verifies the integrity. So it's an extra security feature that you want to implement. It's gonna implement. They're gonna charge you, but they're gonna always keep a check on who is changing data at what time, or if it was changed without authorization. Right? Identity, use system assigned and user assigned managed identities to enable central access management between this database and Azure resources. So system assigned is that Azure says that yes, this is a secure database and it is registered with me. Azure can say that if you do go system assigned. User assigned is from Azure Active Directory. You assign some user some level of access and authorization. So it's just like in virtual machines. Identity settings for the existing server can be updated by navigating to this. Yeah. Okay. When this gets created, we can see who can get access and who cannot. Transparent data encryption. Transparent data encryption, EE, encrypts your databases. So there's a question there. If you don't add the current IP address, will you need to add one later? We need to, that's a very good question, Fahad. And yes, we need to add our current IP address. Otherwise, it's not going to let us connect. So that's a good point. Guys, when we say current IP address, what do we mean? If you go to your browser and you say, what is my IP address? Then it's going to tell you that current IP address that your ISP has given you, or DSL router, right? So if you want to connect to the database, you have to have this current IP address added in the security. So the database could let you connect. Otherwise, from your laptop, you won't be able to connect to the database, right? Yes. If we go back here, you know why? I don't know why I missed it. Where's it? Uh, because we can add it later as well. But was it here already? That's why I didn't miss it. Uh, and Nick says, will adding these features put extra load on SQL? No, Nick. These are security features, Nick. So they are just going to secure outsiders from tampering your database. So no, they're not going to put any load, but actually they're going to put value there. In terms of performance, no, it doesn't affect performance. And then Fahad says, and because I had MS Defender enabled on SQL Server, the option to have a free trial wasn't available. Okay, it was there. Fahad, it's up there on the same page. Oh, what am I seeing? What am I not seeing here? Ah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. Thank you, Fahad. Guys, it was always already staring at me. All the time it was staring at me. Hey, do you want to add me or not? Add current IP address. This. Yes. So guys, you have to press yes. Very good point, Fahad. Thank you. Add current client IP address. Yes, we have to press yes. You know, 2 or 3 times I just went with default. Later, when we were connecting through the client, it did, at that time ask me, or it gave an error. Then I had to come back here in the console and enable this option after creating the database, and then enable this option. Then it let us connect. So that's very good that you pointed out now. So guys, press this yes, whoever is following. Okay, so add current IP address, which is our client. So whatever my current IP address, this is my current IP address. So it's going to, when we press yes, it's going to get that and it's going to add it. So we will have access without that. So this is a very good security measure, right? That you connect from only that particular IP that has been added. Okay, so nothing else other than yes on networking. Yes to this option. Okay. Other than that, if we go to next security, we talked about that. Differ is okay. It is a collection of security tools. Ledger detects, saves you from data tampering. Somebody's changing your data maliciously or unauthorizingly, which is not a word. It's not a word. Unauthorizingly, just like fastly is not a word. Right? So, but in a and then identity, we talked about that. Transparent data encryption, TDE encrypts your so TDE encrypts your databases, backups, and logs at rest. So it's when they are at rest. So there's a data, um, you know, data on move was encrypted. That was a networking. This is data at rest. So TLS was encrypting your data when it is moving, when it is being copied. This is at rest when it is just sitting in your database on the disks is encrypted without any charges to your application. Okay, wow, that's good. So TD is free. TDE is free. All right, good to know. Transparent data encryption settings for the existing server can be updated by navigating to blah blah blah. This is the name of the database. Okay, anyway, so TD is so data on the move and data at rest both are encrypted. Additional settings. Customized additional configuration parameters including collision and sample data. So changes not charges. Oh, that where I said, oh yeah, it's changes exactly at rest without any changes to your application. Exactly right. Thank you. So here, additional settings. Start with blank database, restore from a backup, or select. Guys, here we're going to select sample database. And sample database, selecting this sample will modify the compute plus storage settings configured in basics. For backup compatibility, visit basics or review plus create tabs to review. Sample database has some kind of data, has tables, a lot of tables. And tables have a lot of information. So if it is more than 5 GB, then it will change the basics as well. Basics that we chose here. But if it is within 5 GB, I think it is within 5 GB, so it's okay. Yep, it's okay. Now, database collation. Database collation defines the rules that sort and compare data and cannot be changed after database creation. The default database collation is SQL Latin 1, General CP1, CAI, AS. So the thing is that collation defines the rules that sort and compare. So obviously, when you have huge data, the most thing that would be happening is sorting the data, comparing the data. That is also done by analytical applications. So when they're analyzing, they're sorting and comparing, basically doing a lot of other things as well. But sorting and comparing is also one of the operations. So it says that there would be some default rules set that could be changed if from queries as well. You can just put some commands there to change the rules, but default rules are always good for you want to sort the data out and compare the data with other data. So those are default are okay. Tags, we know how to use that, so we're gonna just go ahead and create. So we're just going to create now. There you go, 3 and 8. All right, so now we're going to also download SSMS, right? So what is that? We need to connect to our database. So you need to install SSMS somewhere in some machine, and that is the client through which we're going to connect to our database and peek inside our database, right? And make changes inside and manage our database. You don't have the client, then we can connect. Well, through CLI we can connect, but this is the way for GUI. So we don't need to create a VM for that. You were saying chat. No, it's SSMS needs to be downloaded in the laptop or wherever. So whichever machine has connectivity to this base, you can download SSMS there, but it's a separate machine. Yes. It could be a same SQL server as well if we connect to the SQL server, but it doesn't work that way with Azure here. We need to just install SSMS somewhere. So let us go ahead, and I'm going to open another tab here where the database is being created. Oh, it's created already, which is okay, but we need to have a client to see it, to peek inside this, right? To connect to it. So download, do the search and put download SSMS and just press enter because maybe the latest client is 18 or 19. I don't know. Yeah, 18 is there as well. But if you have 17, if you have 16, it's still going to connect better. Go for latest one, right? So I'm just going to put download SSMS, enter. And yeah, so I'm just going to go for, no, not this one. This is SolarWinds, right? This is Microsoft. Download SQL Server Management. Seriously, did I say service? My abbreviation. What was it? Oh, I didn't say anything here. Oh yeah, it was there. Management Studio, not service. Sorry, my bad. Studio. SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, I'm just gonna go here. This is the latest page, and I'll just, oh, there you go. I was gonna copy that, and we did that already. Okay, so thank you for that. And the latest one is 18, oh, even 19. Is it to download as well as 19 preview? No, not preview. It's still not ready for commercial use. So I'm gonna go for 18, 12. Even if it's 17, it's okay. Even if it's 16, it's okay. Right? I'm just gonna go for whatever is the latest commercially available one, which is 18.12. Like that, and it is downloading now. See, if when I was in Scarborough, I had that internet fiber to home, so it's fiber optic cable till home it was providing to my DSL. So it would have been zoom, would have done already. Now I'm in this Etobicoke in this building, and there it is, 50 MB per maximum. It was like 600 download. This is 50 download. That's it. Upload was like, wow. Nowadays, I'm uploading too much, so many videos, and it really sucks. Now I really miss that connection. And this building does not provide fiber to home. So I have to be in this building for, okay, for my relatives. So all my relatives chose to be in this building, and I want to move away from this building. Moving away from anywhere now is a big risk because then you're facing huge financial. Keep talking. Seriously, still downloading. I think it's 300 MB. So it's a connectivity client to database. Yeah, for this is fiber is really fast. I have Bell fiber. Yeah, so this means that fiber to home till DSL. Wow. Yeah, that is so amazing. And upload is like 600. This is 50 upload. That is 600. I mean, like uploads go so fast. Miss it. Okay, I'm gonna open. It is downloaded already. But really, seriously, oh man, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Uh, mm, okay, yeah, I can do that from a virtual machine as well, which is connected to internet because uh, somehow I'm not an admin here. America, so add Dr. Watson, babe, I don't know the password. Seriously. Okay, so guys, hopefully you're the admin of your machine. Yeah, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm not the admin of my machine. So I'm gonna quickly launch VMware Workstation, and actually I am the admin of my machine. It's just that I forgot that stupid password, and it's always the case that I'm struggling and I put it somewhere and then I forgot again. Okay, so guys, yes, break time. And I'll retrieve the password as well. I'll start the machine, and this machine is, I'll just put on download. And in fact, when we are installing, yes, go ahead and install. So for this is install. Yes, go ahead and next. It's a next finish. Oh, Ravid, you also have the 50 like mine. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to uh, I'll put it to download and then we can take a break. I'll just log in from certain machine here, virtual machine that I already have for another class, VMware class. So, okay, in my area they don't offer fiber, it says. Yeah. Well, strangely, in my building, Rogers offer fiber to home, while Bell does not offer that. So I'll be soon switching to Rogers. Oh, come on. I'm just gonna open the browser. I just want to put it on installation and then we can go for a break. So once it is downloaded, it has internet connection already. So this is just a domain controller or server with Active Directory. Come on in. Come on. Okay. Download SMS. If it's already on installation for you, you can take a break. I'll just start doing that now. Advanced date, time, and date. Clock is behind. Kidding me? Okay, change time zone. Yeah, it's good. It's the clock. So it's I'm still in November here. Time stopped here. 14th. Okay. Okay, and it's still 7:33. It's 12:20. 12:20 a.m. Oh, it's PM. And now I should be good. See, internet is not available when the time is different. SMS download. Okay, so it's gonna download now. So go ahead if you're installing it, you can take a break. I'll just leave it to install. So 12:21, 31:41 means 12:41. Oh, yes, exactly. Wasn't completed when the break ends. Yeah, right. So 12:41 we meet. I'll just leave it to okay. At 6.5.4 minutes. Uh, this and my break is 1 minute left. All right, so 677 MB, 275 to 81. So yeah, it is heavy. It is 300 MB, I think. Yeah, it's six. Oh, it's not 300, it's 600 MB. And yeah, we can tell others in the house, hey, can you stop downloading and can you stop watching that Hum TV or come on, right? Or Geo TV? Okay, just like. So do we need to install this? Oh yes, Fahad, we need to install this. Yes, whoever has downloaded it, go ahead and install installation. Installation also takes time, and you don't have to restart at the end of it. Installation also takes time. Whenever it starts a long installation, just leave it there and then do not restart at the end of it. Or if you want to restart, go ahead, but you don't have to. Okay, so 67700 MB. It's nearly downloaded. It's downloaded. Yay! Okay, I'm starting to install it now. It's gonna pop up now, and I'm gonna do next, 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 and then leave it. Okay, there's an install button here. Here, you close your WebEx. Maybe, okay, he's not there. Okay, so it's installing now. Yeah, that's it. We can leave it at that. Time 12:24, 12:24, 12:44. Bidding. Alright, guys, so let's get going, and hopefully that we have. Oh, it's done. Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio with Azure Data Studio. Setup completed. Setup completed, and let us go ahead and um, so what we can do is we can click the close button here, and we're going to connect from the SSMS SQL Server Management Studio to the SQL Server, but is it going to let us connect? So I'm just going to go ahead and click this, and there is that SQL Server Management Studio. So analysis services here. This is the SQL Server profile. Um, oh, there it is. The SQL Server tools, really, inside there. Yeah, there it is. SQL Server Management Studio, or you can just put in the search SQL Server Management Studio, and it should appear. So there it is, SQL Server Management Studio, and it's opening, and okay, so it's still opening, and when it is opened, then what's going on here right now? We have installed here SSMS in our laptop or desktop, and from here we want to connect to the SQL Server database, actually SQL Server. So we need that address of the SQL server. Let's just get that address first and put it somewhere like in the notepad here. I'm just going to open the notepad, or you can search and type notepad there and put it there, right? So so here I'm just going to put that and uh, on the tab. So where is this? While it is starting SSMS, I'm just going to go to this Microsoft SQL Server. I need to know that SQL Server here. So I'm just going to go ahead, go to search, and there's SQL servers here. I need to go there to SQL Server to get that connection address, right? So I'm just going to go to SQL Server here. And then this is a SQL Server that we created. We're going to just click that. This SQL Server, it connects to overview, and in the overview you see this server name, this one, right? Whole thing. There's that copy to clipboard icon appearing here when you hover the mouse over there. So you can click that. It's going to copy the whole thing. But this is the address we need. I'll just put it here in database in the notepad. I'll go back to where the SMS is. Did it ask for a SQL Server username and password? Because that username password first, yeah, let's just go and correct. Also, we did not assign anyone, did ask for, right? Doing service, yes. Okay, thank you Naveed, for that. Let's go ahead. I'm just gonna go inside here, and that's how it looks like, the SQL Server Management Studio. So we just need to connect to that, and this is Windows authentication, it shows here. I need to just put that full name here. But well, so if I just click that authentication here, either it's going to be Windows authentication or SQL Server authentication purely, or Azure Active Directory Universal with MFA, Azure Active Directory password, Azure Active Directory integrated, right? So, but when it goes to Windows authentication, my Windows is just showing that, or your laptop might be showing, so it cannot be Windows authentication. Still, I'm just gonna click connect and see the error. There we go. So authentication would not be the Windows authentication, or the username password of your laptop would not really let us go inside. So we can go for Azure Active Directory password. I think with so now this is the Azure Active Directory password, and did we create? Yeah, I don't remember creating a username password. Um, I don't remember creating SQL Server username password, so it would be then SQL Server on the laptop. How it will create a link? So connected. No, this is the link. Or globally, it needs to access this server name. Globally, it needs to access this server name, and we need to give Azure Active Directory username password. In fact, yes, we've set an admin. Exactly, we set an admin. So who is the admin here? And admin is the currently logged in user. Who is the currently logged in user? In my case, I mentioned that this is the currently logged in user. I need that full domain here. Where do I get that? Because this is my contact information. Okay, I'll just go with my contact information here. And I just need that punishingly long username, password. Oh, okay, I'll just go to Azure Active Directory directly. Just get that user directly in the portal menu either. Did I say either? Okay. So users and admin. I'm doing actually that Microsoft 365 course in Urdu language, Urdu Hindi language as well. So yeah, I'm saying all this in Urdu Hindi as well. Okay, so this was the username password. Uh, yeah, there it is. So I'm just lazy to type all this. So this is the username password. This is the Windows server. Windows server. Did I say Windows server? SQL server address. SQL server address, and this would be the admin set admin, right? Which is so the password would be whatever password I used there. All right. So I'm going to use this username now and go there to Azure Active Directory and the password. So this is the username, and the password is the class password. So that's how I've been logging in, unless I had changed it. It's grayed out. No, when you so when you put Azure Active Directory password, it should let you put username password here. And yep, it takes me to the firewall rule, which actually tells me that this is your client IP, right? That's what I was saying, that it does check that during the login as well. But you are not signed into Microsoft Azure, so I need to Microsoft sign in Azure. Now here, you have to select Azure Active Directory password. Okay? Azure Active Directory password, not the other one. Azure Active Directory with password with universal FA. So if you have done that, um, then go ahead. And you have to sign in as well, right? Oh, okay. So click sign in. I've clicked sign in now. And in the sign in, obviously it needs that username, currently logged in username again, because we remember that we put set admin. So that's where we put that. Next. Yeah, the class password. So let me see, capital C, shift 123, dot shift 123, sign and in. Let's see if sign into your account. Oh yeah, the MF and A. So the code comes 260, 259, 259, verify. Connect. Guys, so it's adding my DSL router current public IP, and this is the one. Yes, we can always confirm that, and I did confirm that actually before. What is my IP? And it was 7049 to 2091, and that is what it detected, 7049 to 2091. So it changes rapidly. It changes 1 or 2 days, in 1 or 2 days. Right now it is this. So I'm just gonna press OK with that, and then connected. Yay! Okay, yay. So this is where inside the SQL server now connected to that database. Which database? Remember we made put a name there, DB01 MKT department, marketing department. We're connected to that database. We expand that database. Also see that we had selected a sample database which had actually data. Right? So where's that data? So if I go to tables here, so it's expanding, and one day, Monday or Sunday, it's gonna expand. Oh, there you go. So it has certain tables. A totally new database does not have these kind of tables, right? It has system tables, external tables, but it does not have these tables. So this is a sample that is from Microsoft. pretending that it's a company, it's some adventure works company. And sales, customer, sales, LT customer, suppose I go for that. Right click the sales LT customer. If I right click and select top 1000 rows, it's going to show us that table with some make-believe people, names, and other columns showing a lot of other information here. Yes, Orlando, Keith, Donna, Janet, Lucy, Rosemary. So yeah, that's all the password hashes, password salt, salt. Okay. Row grid, email address, salesperson, company name. So it's just some make-believe company with a lot of data that you can play with and run queries against. So yeah, that's how it is. Now we have this SQL server connected to, and we are connected to. There's one database, but I can create another database here. If I right click on the databases, now I'm going to log in. It says, you can select the screen and show Windows authentication. So what authentication you're showing now? You can share the screenshot in WhatsApp. So here I'm right-clicking the databases and I'm going to click new database. It's all in Azure. We're connecting through SQL Server Management Studio from our laptop. And we can go for next database name. Maybe marketing department has two databases. So DB02, MKT, EPT marketing department, but DB02, if I just press directly OK, it should just create an empty second database as well. Okay, so okay, this Naveed, you have to change this. Change the Windows authentication to Azure Active Directory authentication. Azure Active Directory dash password. So click here and click Azure Active Directory dash password. Right. So change this. Hit drop down, select Azure Active Directory dash password. Right. Then put your username password of the currently logged in user or whichever you click selected when you click the set admin. Hopefully you got it. Okay, there are more windows here. And oh, Nick shows more windows. And if we drag that, so universal with MFA, no, Nick, go for the password. Azure Active Directory, dash password only, right? Not with the universal MFA. The other one, dash password. And so guys, change it to that, and then go and net. Okay, Nick shows something else. Configuration change made by your administrator or because you moved to a new location. Must use multi-factor authentication to access. Well, no, Nick, but did you first choose the authentication as dash password? Did you put a password there as well? Or you're still at universal MFA? So you have to change that to both. Because I also have MFA enabled and it asked me for that. I first connected to the dash password, then I put username and password of the currently logged in user. It has to be whatever admin you set up, right? So I have this admin and I put the username, this full, and the password of this. The way I'm logging in from Azure, that's the way we need to log in. From database, where to go for server link? Okay, Naveed says where to go for server link. You copied earlier. This is here. You go to SQL Server and where. So go to search, go to SQL servers, this one. This is the SQL server. This is the only SQL server we created. Click overview, and then this. This is the server name. In the overview, this is the server name. right? So you can better copy there, or just make sure that you select copy the whole thing. No letter is missed. Copy that, put it in this. Okay, I'll try again. I think I'll disconnect from here, database. I'm disconnecting now. Disconnected. I click this button. I will close this screen as well. Close SMS. So I'm just gonna go there to SSMS or here and go for SQL Server Tools. There is SQL Server Management Studio 18. I'll open that. Now it will have my information with which I connected already. One day, Monday or Sunday, it's gonna open. Okay. Okay, there we go. So it's gonna pop up that window where I need to put credentials. There it is. So I put that server name here. Then I went down to this. I selected the fourth one, which is Azure Active Directory password. I put, there should be no spaces here, and it should be exactly correct. So I copy pasted from Azure Active Directory. Then I put my password, which is small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, without shift 123. So this is whole configuration I have with this directory dash password, right? Unless everything else is, as far as everything else that we configured in the back is correct, then it should work this way. Right? None of the other options. If your configuration is exactly like mine, you should be connecting like this. But there could be anything else. There are two databases because I created the second one, and that gets created by right clicking a new database, right? And just give a name and press OK. It gets created, right? Guys, so this is username, user principal name. So, okay, I'm just disconnecting again, and this time I'm just connecting. This is a screen. Server name is there, and username is, yes, UPN. You can put the UPN here, UPN, user principal name. Where the screen is like this. Okay, so I have put that picture here in WhatsApp as well. WebEx takes pictures as well. Does it? So guys, yeah, I need everyone to connect through Teams from next class. I'm gonna switch from WebEx to Teams, Microsoft Teams. So I'll be inviting you as guest there, and you can open Teams. All right, guys. So hopefully you were connected. Otherwise, when the video, I'm gonna release a video fastly, and but as you know now, there's another class from 3 to 7. I have a long day here, which is an intro class to AWS Solutions Architect Associate and AWS Security. So I'll be doing that. So after that, I think I will be uploading by tonight. Okay, guys. So let's go for the next topic because obviously the whole steps are in the video as well, and you can always check out the video as well just to trace back where if any step was missing. So I will. Oh, Naveed still says we will be entering here in username. Yeah, the word will try from video. Okay, yeah, that would be my suggestion. Right now, you can try to delete. So here we can go for the next topic, which is DNS. So Um, the DNS services are provided by, so it is called Route 53 in AWS, and it is called basically DNS in Microsoft. And they both offer pretty much the same type of services to corporates. Nick says, can delete the resources we created. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be, yeah. So, guys, let's go and get rid of the resources, and we can go to the resource group here, portal menu, and go to the resource groups, and just click that resource group and delete resource group. Actually, I have really, worked hard on that last class configuration, so I don't want to delete that. So I'm just showing you how to do this. Copy the whole resource group name here and just simply click the delete button. I'm not going to do that, but I'm showing you can do this. I'll cancel out from here, but I will delete today's resources, which is the database DB01, DB02, and this is Elastic Pool. I'm deleting and SQL Server. So that is from today's resource. Okay, database, Elastic Pool Server. These are the four resources that I will delete, but you can delete the whole thing, right? Delete. These four resources will be deleted. It says press yes or type yes to do that. Yes, and D and delete for me. For you, the whole resource group you can get rid of. I'll write, or maybe I will also recreate the whole lab again. And okay, so let us go ahead, guys. While this is it is getting deleted, I'm just going to right click here on the tab. I'm going to put duplicate tab there, duplicate tab here, execute delete command on four selected items. Okay, Elastic Pool has some issue there, so I'll be getting rid of that as well. Delete, yes. Okay, it's gone as well. Now I have nothing today. I'll just make a duplicate of that, duplicate tab, and then let's go for DNS. So DNS for corporate is made available with a lot of services. Basically, DNS high availability is offered in Microsoft DNS. I'm just going to go for the search and go for DNS. And there are DNS zones and DNS forwarding rule sets. So DNS zones is actually the name of the service itself, but it offers the DNS services, right? So DNS zones is the name of the service, and what it does is that Azure DNS is a hosting service for DNS domains. So you can host your DNS domains here. That provides name resolution by using Microsoft Azure infrastructure. So name resolution is provided by Microsoft, but I'm going to explain that or what it means in English. By hosting your domains in Azure, you can manage your DNS records by using the same credentials, APIs, application programming interface, tools, and billing as your other Azure sources. So it's just saying that instead of using Cloudflare DNS um, or there are some DNS services. Open DNS is there from Cisco. Dynamic DNS services are there. So since you are having other services on Azure, why don't you use Azure's DNS service as well, instead of going to other DNS services? Okay, but how does it work really, and in what scenarios you would use DNS? So if we, go for a scenario here. So suppose you have a company and or you have online domains as well, and so there's that Toronto branch, and there is Azure Cloud and Azure Cloud, and you have purchased the domain. Now Azure is offering DNS services, but it is not a um, domain registrar. So what is a domain registrar and what is a DNS provider? So if you go to GoDaddy.com, suppose, so GoDaddy.com is a domain registrar, right? So GoDaddy.com or any other domain.com, I think cheapdomains.com. So you can purchase domains from here. So it registers your domains. So that's why it is called domain registrar, but it also offers DNS services, right? So domain names you search and then it's DNS services. You can also. So what does DNS services really do for the domain? So suppose you have purchased a domain called New Era Company and Nera, okay, neweracompany.com. I hope that's not an actual name. And then you purchase that domain and you have like thousands of employees there. It's a pretty big company. And even thousands and thousands of customers are there that connect to your company as well. So that is the domain name here. And then you have email services for that domain name. So mail dot new era company.com. Maybe you have some kind of records there as well to services in the cloud. So you have Exchange server here. They want to connect with Exchange server. So there are some MX records there. And so DNS providing services lets people connect. So suppose they type the domain name, then they are sent to some kind of hosting here. Actually, Azure does provide Azure Storage provides static hosting, which means that you can create one simple site there that has just the web pages there, nothing backend. Also, there are many services like analytical applications. There are many services that the users can connect to, but users have to go to some kind of domain, and from there you can connect to services that are actually hosted on Azure. So suppose there are hundreds of users connected right now, and so they're connecting to the domain, and then from domain they're redirected to Azure services like some database services or some application services that they are connecting to, right? Databases, applications, apps, right? Now, all of a sudden, it's like thousands and thousands of users are connecting because you're offering something that maybe Chat GPT, which is pretty famous now. Chat GPT, which is artificial intelligence that is talking to you, and you're connecting to Chat GPT platform, right? And maybe that is hosted. It's not hosted on Azure, but maybe soon. It's open AI, right? So millions of users have become member of this in 1 month. That's a record because of the service offers. Right? So you want to suppose have a PowerShell code, PowerShell command for creating a virtual machine. You just type here in Chat GPT and it will just give you the whole PowerShell command in front of you. You just copy paste and it's done. Create 10 virtual machines for me. Configure scale set and create 10 virtual machines, or configure 10 VNets, and in each VNet put 2 virtual machines and create 4 storage accounts. It's going to give you the whole PowerShell code for that. And it's amazingly near to exactly what we want. So this is pretty amazing. With thousands and thousands of users are connected. So DNS, what is the role of a DNS service inside under the domain, or if you are separately accessing DNS services? So DNS makes sure that by name you're accessing these services. So these services should be available. Thousands or millions of users are connecting. DNS should have high availability for connectivity. So there is one connection going on. That connection may have overwhelmed with bandwidth. So there's another DNS connection that is going on. There's a third redundant connection DNS going on that is letting all the users connect to any of the databases or applications uh, by name, right? So suppose there's too much traffic, so it will say, okay, I cannot take that kind of traffic. So AWS and Azure and Google Cloud, they all say that we have scalable bandwidth. We can offer whatever number you throw at us, at whatever type of traffic you're sending us, we can handle that kind of traffic. If it is legit traffic, when we say legit traffic, obviously there is another thing called DDoS or DOS. Anyone knows that? Uh, anyone knows? DOS, DOS, right? So DOS commands in when years ago we used to have DOS commands, copy, and it's not that. It's denial of service, right? For distributed denial of service, this is DDoS. Denial of service means, exactly, David says that in the chat. So denial of service means that someone launches an attack pretending that thousands of users are connecting and thousands more are connecting until the service says we cannot take that kind of user. So typical professional DNS service should have DDoS protection as well. Now Azure, AWS, they all, and Google Cloud, they all say that we protect you from fake traffic or fake huge traffic that actually causes your services to stop and your business is disrupted because of denial of service attacks, because they pretend that there's huge traffic coming and it just can't take that factor. So they try to know, DNS service tries to know if it's legit, unique, thousand users connecting, or is it fake thousand connections making attempt and they are not actual legit users from unique separate places, separate houses or devices. There are patterns with which they detect that, oh, this is a denial of service attack, this is not an actual traffic. So they then have mechanisms to stop the denial of service attacks and let only the legit traffic use your bandwidth to your services, right? So this is overall, DNS service lets thousands and thousands of users connect to your services by name. It should be scalable, that of if the users traffic increases, there should be redundant connections, they should not go down, and it should have plenty of protection from denial of service attacks as well. The other says in the chat, Google defended DDoS attack of 4.5 million requests per second attack without compromising the web service quality. Wow. Google is gigantic, definitely. Right. So let's say the chat, Google, per second, 4.5 million requests per second. Wow. That's huge, man. Okay. So thank you for showing that. Now, this is huge. Now let's go back to our DNS service and check it out, what it really does. When we try to implement it, how does it look like? So if I go to create DNS zone, then I'm going to go for the resource group here. I have just one resource group here. I'll just click that. And then I'm going to go ahead and name this. So instance details. This zone is a child of an existing zone already hosted in Azure DNS. No, it is not. Now, when we talk about domain and then second level of domains and third level, so it's like this is the main domain name, right? So first of all, it's .com. Then you choose that I'm going to have a domain name with it. So newera.com. Then there's mail.newera.com. And maybe it's Toronto dot mail or Toronto dot web. Maybe it's a web server that you're hosting, web dot newera.com. So these keeps on increasing subdomains there. New era, okay, company. Oh, why did I have to come up with Such a long name company.com. So suppose that's the name here. So you create zones for that. So we're gonna actually try to. I'm gonna show you that. So it's a child zone. It's the main parent. So I'm gonna show you that. Name is that. Suppose it's our company, New Era. Okay, New Era company. Uh, there must be 234 labels. For example, contest.com has two labels. Oh, okay. So it has to be something.com. It adds like this now. Before it used to be different. So guys, we have to put a domain name. So suppose I have CNN.com. I hope I'm not breaching any contracts here. We are creating a zone. You know what? I might sue me. Okay. So who else? Breakfastgone.com. Breakfast time gone. Time gone. So suppose there's some domain which has this weird name, breakfasttime.com, and resource group location. Hey, I need to change that. Okay, I'm remembering that it's Canada Central. Oh yeah, it is Canada Central. I thought Paris. So this is it. You put some domain name here first, and then you will tags. You can put anything here, extra information, then go to create here, right? So once you click the create button, we still will be creating more, resources inside called zones or zone records, resource records. I'm going to show you and then give an example as well. So I need to go to this DNS service. So I'm going to click the go to resource here, which is this, or I can go to this search and DNS is already typed there. DNS zones is already typed there. This is where I'm going to go again. The zones, and there you go. Nothing here. Refresh. There you go. Breakfasttimegone.com. So you could add any domain here or subdomain here, and number of record sets you can create 10,000 records here. I'm just going to go inside. What is record? What do we create here? Why? So you can say first of all there are so many name servers or that are supporting here, and if the traffic comes through this, maybe 10,000 users are connecting through this name, and then next 20,000 are connecting to this name server, which is driving the traffic. Third, maybe 50,000 are connected here, 100,000 are connected here. So they are just taking all the traffic and then forwarding it to the applications. Okay, so here we can create a record set here as well. If I click the record set, so it asks that, oh, okay, so for breakfasttimegone.com, what do you want? What is your service that you're offering here? So suppose we go for web. We want people to connect to web.breakfasttimegone.com, and behind that is a virtual machine on Azure or some application or service in Azure that the people will be connecting to. So then you have to just redirect them that whenever they type web dot breakfasttimegone.com, so are you redirecting them to some kind of IP address? Are you redirecting them to some kind of CNAME or mail exchange record for or name server or service record, some kind of service you're offering, authentication service, authorization service, or text record just for there for letting you know that it's you are the owner, or just some extra information for DNS traffic. PTR pointer record, which is just IP to name, that you know the IP, you need to know the name. So suppose we go for alias, right? And alias record set, it says here alias record sets are only supported for record types A, AAA, AA, and CNAME. So yes, it's an alias record set. Okay, I'm going to click no because it's going to. I wanted to show that there's a time to live. For that, time to live means that long clients will try to keep connecting to this web.breakfasttimegone.com. This is 1 hour basically, but you can change it to 1 minute, 1 day, 1 week. That keep on trying to connect, keep on trying to connect. and then after 1 hour, start trying to connect if it's not available, right? Then there's an IP address. Then you can give the IP address of a service. Suppose there's a service that, or there's an app for which there's an IP address as well. That maybe 34.6056.234.90. I just want random for this. There's a public IP that has been assigned to either an app or a virtual machine, and you want to give that IP there. So 34.56.234.90, or what my public IP. Okay, so there's a service here, maybe a web service here that this is actually an IP that is pingable. Before I was just guessing an IP, right? So how about this is some IP which is where there's a virtual machine, the web application, and everyone who connects to that virtual machine through that IP opens that web application, and maybe you're selling some products there on that server pages. So I put an IP here. When you put web.breakfasttimegone.com, then try to connect to this public IP. This public IP is right now my DSL IP. So I'm just gonna press OK. So there's some real IP I've given here, real public IP I've given here. And the A record is subdomain is web. Now, if there are 100,000 users connected here or millions of users connected here, so Azure DNS just claims that, hey, don't worry, we have enough bandwidth to take on whatever type of traffic that comes our way while we are protecting your traffic and your services, your web services from denial of service attack as well. So this is something that we have created a record for this, but there's one more. There are some child zone. I create another one because I wanted to show you something else in terms of high availability. Suppose there is another service that you're offering, and that is maybe okay, what else? File service. Okay, there are so many files here, and then you're going for a record for that too. But if I go for yes, and Azure resource, traffic manager, public DNS, Azure CDN, static web app. So that's where you can also connect. So this is another choice here. Suppose you're connecting to a static website, right? And this static website is introduction to your business. So you can just go for site.breakfasttimegone.com, and what is your website? Suppose you go for I have a static website here, but if you had created a static website, you would have given that option. So whoever types on the internet site.breakfasttimegone.com, and if you had created that website, that traffic, those guys would be moved automatically to that static website from here, right? So you can create a DNS zone record, then add a domain. This domain should have been purchased from someone. Now, Azure is not a domain registrar. You cannot purchase a domain from Azure, but AWS is a domain registrar, right? So you can purchase domain from AWS. And AWS has its own DNS services as well, which are called Route 53. So there you can do all that. But here, first you have to go to GoDaddy.com, go ahead and purchase a domain from here, and then you can, if you expect thousands and thousands of users connecting, then you can go to some professional DNS service, corporate level DNS services like this. Although GoDaddy also has very good DNS services there, but obviously it's for general public, while corporates and those who are expecting millions of users, they would go for Azure, AWS, Google Cloud DNS services there. If I created that, then there are many services, Azure CDN, Front Door. These are all traffic forwarding services to websites, right, and file download. So yeah, this is how DNS services really work. The thing that I wanted to show you was uh, the high availability services features. And if I click inside, it goes inside here, but it has removed that together. I mean, maybe in Azure or AWS they show that, but here they used to show that you can create two records and make one redundant. They are just offering that in the background, what I'm guessing here, but there were redundant services that they used to show here as well, which they have not shown, not showing anymore. They are not showing anymore, but they are showing four name servers here. If one does not if one is overwhelming traffic, the other one will take it, and the third one will take it. So there are some name servers that are available for any record that you have here. So guys, this is pretty much it. They have, if I go to properties here, this is just the link. That's just monitoring link. So you can just create now, and then you can create child zone as well. And child zone is just you can create full zone here. So suppose this is Toronto dot breakfasttimegone.com, and then create go ahead and create that, and inside that you can have web services, you can have file services, you can have games or some kind of accounting services or whatever you're offering, right? You can create a full separate zone and create resource records for that too, record sets for that subdomain as well. If I go to resource again, um, and so this is the child zone. You can see Toronto dot was in here. So I had created a record, but it is not for this zone, right? So if I go back here, I'll go to DNS zones. DNS zones. Now you can see this. That's the main site, breakfasttime.com, timegone.com, Toronto dot breakfasttimegone.com. So this also can have its own zones, a separate zone. Oh, I'm connecting web services, offering web services. So millions of users will get this, then go to that A record, and A record is pointing to a public IP. And from that public IP, we connect to some kind of application site. So that's how it just takes. It's they just claim that you can throw whatever you have, and also we protect you from uh, uh, denial service kind of traffic. Okay, guys, so this is DNS zones, not something complicated, but we just need to understand how it works and what do we use it for, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that too. So that's DNS zones, and this is the name of the service. Okay, one more thing is learn more. Okay, so that's where you can get the documentation overview of DNS, reliability and performance, security, DNSSEC. DNSSEC is DNS security, which means that your traffic is encrypted, or at least your DNS zones are encrypted and signed so that they are not zones manipulated by some hacker. So there's a lot of security for DNS as well, and so you can really redirect traffic from one place to another with the help of DNS. So this is a good read service. That's where you're on, but it's not like you're expecting millions of users, then you get to use that. Otherwise, you don't really need to create that. I'll just close that, and then we go for cloud apps. Now cloud apps is apps in the cloud. So simple. Um, was that even a topic? Logic apps. No, it was not cloud apps. Uh, huh. Oh yeah, sorry, that was not Azure topic. That was M365 topic. So Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, but Cloud Apps is a service from M365. Um, Even if we go for that, so it just have to have Microsoft 365. We are talking about Azure IaaS, right? So it is this then monitor. So Cloud App is not Azure related. It's monitor. A monitor is also Montier. Okay, monitor. If we go back to this uh, Azure Trust or the dashboard, I'm just going to go to portal menu. In fact, I'm just going to monitor is there. Yeah, it's one of the obviously main features here. Monitor and so it can monitor all the services and applications inside Azure. We already had a monitoring section for virtual machines. We had a monitoring section for Azure Active Directory. We had that monitoring section for virtual networks, VNets, databases. So, but you can centrally come here and create some. So you can see already monitoring for applications, virtual machines, storage accounts, containers, networks, SQL Server, Azure Cosmos DB, keywords, Azure Cache Redis. So it just keeps on going that we monitor pretty much everything. Managed Prometheus. Wow, what a name. Azure managed Grafana. Prometheus and Grafana. I think they're okay. Anyway, so SCOM managed instance. Wow. Diagnostics. So it's pretty large, pretty heavy as well. But application insights monitor your app's availability, performance, errors, and usage. There is container insights. We haven't gone through containers, so we're gonna go through that obviously in next class. Then next class also we're starting security course. So because only monitoring and Kubernetes is left, so after that, so next week would be the security course we're going to start and go for the objectives. Okay, VM Insights. Now, security course is not as big as this one, right? So it's just the security of whatever we have learned here, obviously. Network Insights. View the health and metrics for all deployed network resources. Metrics detection. So alerts. You can see metrics, alerts, logs, books, change analysis, monitors com, and diagnostics. So if we go ahead, activity log, we already know that whoever is doing whatever, we can see from here and who created what and where. When it comes to alerts, that's where you can alert yourself with, okay, if this happens, just alert me. You can go to create here, create an alert rule. And we have created that alert before as well for storage and for virtual machine. So you have to just select for which resource you want to create an alert. Right? So, well, these are all the virtual machine, all the services there. So you can just select any of those. Oh, man, why don't I just virtual machine? So from the central alert, I'm just going for virtual machines, but it says, hey, where's your virtual machine? Which resource group your virtual machines are? Actually, we don't have any, but I'm selecting some resource group that is already here. I'm clicking done here. So all virtual machines in resource group this, in subscription this. Then what is the condition? What you want, choose a signal below and configure the logic on the next screen. So what kind of alerts you want for a virtual machine. So if somebody deletes a virtual machine, please alert me. Well, that seems like a sensible thing to be alerted of. A very solid thing. So we're saying that if anyone deletes a machine, just let me know over the last 6 hours if anyone has deleted or last 12 hours, last 24, 3 days, or last week. So it goes back to that. So what is the alert logic here? Event level, critical error. So obviously it's a critical event. it's a critical event. So I'm unchecking all others. And status, uh, somebody tried to delete and that person failed, or started or succeeded. So yes, anything with the delete that happened, whether it was successful attempt or successful, alert me about all those. And then event initiated by. So yes, if uh, event initiated by who? So suppose we go for administrator, add an event initiator that doesn't exist currently in AAD. Really? I mean, okay, so it could be an outsider who is doing that, but I don't think I think it will require that. I'll try to go ahead. Condition preview. Whenever the activity log has an event with category administrative, signal name delete virtual machine, well, critical. So event name is administrative. Yeah, it is an event. So I'm just gonna click go next and see. It lets me go ahead. Select actions group, or which action group is the guys who are going to be alerted. Hey, wake up! Virtual machine got deleted. What are you doing? So create action group. I'm gonna click that, and then I'm gonna go for resource group. That's the only resource group I have. Region is global. Yeah, it's global. Anyone from any region, any admin from any region can respond to that belonging to the same company. Action group name, tax support, okay, or whatever name you want to give. Notification type, hey, SMS me, email me, push notification, whatever. Tell me who is it? Who is it? Tech support name. Please confirm notification by clicking the edit button. Yeah. Okay, like this. Name is required. Tech support. Wait. So edit, and there it is. And then email, okay, send us SMS or mobile app notification. It will pop up there, or voice. This means there will be a call there. You can put a number there as well. I'll just go for email and maybe put the user principal name of this guy here. That's the full email address as well. So, and press OK. So this is the tech support group that will be notified. You could put a group name there where there are multiple tech support guys added to. I'm going to click next action. So do you want any actions to be performed as well? Maybe launch commandos on that guy who's deleting it, or put a missile, try to check the where that attack is coming from, who's trying to delete. Maybe it's your boss who's trying to delete. So just keep some kind of location information as well. Okay. The automation runbook, error function, event hub, ITSM, logic app, secure webhook. These are all automated applications that they're gonna run something. They're going to trigger something. They're going to run an application. Suppose you go for logic app here, and if you have created a logic app, which means that when email someone something, or no, not email, but try to create a copy of that virtual machine. So suppose you want some kind of longer thing to be performed by some application, then you go for logic app. But otherwise, it's maybe IT, and the subscription does not have any connections. Yeah, we didn't create any ideas. Actually, I didn't want to use anything from here. I'm just going to delete that because we don't want something to be automatically happening. Just email us and we're going to take over. We're going to fix this. Right? We're going to investigate. So tags, yeah, department, manager, whoever. Test this action group to see how it works. So, well, you want us to test. Was there a test? Action group. Okay, just create the action group because we're getting alert, and this is the action group that will be alerted of somebody deleting the machine. Details, if we go to details, so machine delete event or whatever, how you want to name it. Then you can describe as well. If somebody's trying to delete a machine, either successful or not, you're being alerted for that. Advanced options, add your own properties to the alert rule. These will be sent with alert payload. So suppose manager on and senior IT or IT admin Bob, right? So you can just put some information that would somebody would see that, oh, machine delete alert, and who should be alerted? Oh, these guys. Okay. Tags, nothing there. You can put something there if you want. So that's the full alert. Go ahead and create that. You can put an alert for pretty much everything, every service that there is, and then those, if that happens, they will be emailing you. Metrics, that is live metrics going on, that what's going on with the resource group, which resource you have in the resource group, define scope. They're saying that, okay, you selected the resource group, for which resource we should show you the metrics at how much CPU is used, how much RAM is being used, how much storage is being used. So I think I have, oh, recovery services vault, this is from last week. We have that. So supply me some metrics about how it is performing, what is the so backup health events preview. Okay, so if the health of the service is down, it's the service is not working, not replicating, then show it here live. That's metrics. In logs, obviously, you have to attach a log, and then it just gets created and log files, but you need to create a storage account for that, and then it shows all the events in the log files, right? Change analysis. So that is also eight changes from 13.1 up to 14.1. So there were 8 changes detected here, which is very, very cool that it's detecting who is changing what modifications are being done where. It's not showing who, but it's still showing what is being changed, right? That's resources were deleted, and in which resource name, what resource was deleted. And so that's pretty good that it has change analysis. Haven't made any change, you know that from here. Service health, this is from overall Microsoft. They tell that is there an outage on availability zone? Is there an outage on regional level, availability zone level, data center level? So they tell Microsoft if everything is okay in the service health. Workbooks are just fancy, you can say, graphs that pick information from log files and tell you in colorful graphs, that tables that know what's going on. So keyword, you have log analytics, you have any of those services, they will tell you in graph that colorful graphs that how it looks like. Then it comes to applications. If you have applications, create an alert for that. If you have virtual machines, create an alert for that. Configure insights as well, analyze data as well. So it gives you detailed reports about your virtual machines, overview, performance, and map of the virtual machine. If you have many virtual machines, switches in which VNet connected to what, which resource group, right? And storage accounts. Then there is storage accounts here. If you have storage account, it's going to tell you that what's going on with the latency, server latency, up when you're loading files, so how slow it is, right? And then containers, if we had containers, it would give us the report for that too. It's all pretty much reporting here. And view insights on monitored container clusters, onboard unmonitored clusters, create alert rules for monitored clusters, right? Networks, we don't have containers, obviously, that's why, but what it gives reports about, that's what's written here. And networks, if you have VNets, you have subnets inside the VNets, you have route tables, what kind of traffic is going from where to where. So it can give you alerts about networking. If there's connectivity issue, of some type, it's unreachable. VNet is unreachable. It's stopped, or it is reachable. So all that is shown here. How much traffic you're actually getting through which network security group of or NSG. So all that in detail is showing here. SQL preview is still in preview, but it can give you a good in-depth report about how SQL is going on, and there is you have to create a new profile and tell something about your SQL servers. Then it's going to tell you overview, activities, memory clerks, database space, especially this one, database space, transactions. This is also important. Database IO, floor metrics, Azure Cosmos DB. That's the NoSQL one, the database type, and if you had that, it will give you details. Key vaults. It's all about, guys, all services there, and it's going to give you some kind of information about the services. Azure Cache for Redis, Azure Data Explorer clusters. So pretty much it's reports. What else we can say? And inside hubs, Insights Hub for virtual machine, whatever we talked about here, it shows here as well that you want to go deep inside insights or more deeper information about those. Then there is Prometheus. Managed Prometheus provides a highly available, scalable, and secure platform to monitor your containerized workloads. So this is mainly about containers that you can go for highly available, provides a highly available, scalable, and secure platform to monitor. So again, obviously it's the monitoring feature, but it's specialized for monitoring containers related workloads or whatever is happening in the containers. And its cousin Grafana. So connect your Grafana, Azure managed or self-managed. So they come up with nice names there. Run a fully managed instance of Grafana that's automatically connected to your Azure resources. And if you click learn more here, that's it. It just takes us to the products. Azure Grafana. And Azure Managed Grafana is a fully managed service for analytics and monitoring solutions. So Grafana is also a analytics and monitoring solutions. It's supported by Grafana Enterprise, which provides extensible data visualization. It's more about visualization. You visualize your data. Oh, orange is something like it's slow, or red is totally not available. Green is working good, but it gives you in a visual way all the monitoring reports, which is very cool. You can easily deploy Grafana dashboards with built-in high availability and control access with Azure security. Amazing. So Microsoft may have purchased this company if it was a separate company, or they came up with their own software, but you can visualize data with Grafana, and it shows here some examples, and you can put some configurations here, and then it shows, well, it's telling you how you can configure it. Oh, amazing. And that's kind of what it looks like for different kind of services. You give colors. Yeah, that's Grafana. Azure monitors SCOM. SCOM is System Center Operations Manager, which is on-premises monitoring solution, and most SCOM managed instances to display. So if you have on-premises servers of SCOM, then you can add here. So that's pretty much it for monitor, because when you have services, you just create alerts, or you see what's going on in terms of performance and availability, right? So not much there. Uh, Nothing complicated. There's data collection rules here as well. You want to collect data regularly from something, so you can create a resource group, and then you want to collect data from Windows, Linux, or custom. And then what kind of data collection endpoint is there? We don't have any endpoint right now, but it just shows pick a set of machines to collect data from. Azure Monitor Agent will be automatically installed on virtual machines, scale sets, and ARC-enabled servers for Windows 10 and 11 devices. Download the client installer and follow the guidance here. So pretty cool that it will collect data from certain virtual machines and servers and tell you that from time to time that how they're performing. Right, so it's a pretty cool feature if you have a lot of virtual machines and servers. Data collection endpoint, so which exact endpoint you want to connect to, which resource group, which location, which subscription. Autoscale, well, that's the name of the AWS feature, but this is autoscale. This is different in Azure, where if there is some automatic scaling or multiple virtual machines are being deployed, multiple databases are being deployed, multiple containers are being deployed, and private link scopes, we haven't connected anything. Well, we don't have right now, but we did connect through, machines with private IPs. Overall, it's not very complicated. It's pretty straightforward. You go there, you either see the report or you create an alert or go through the wizards and try to check out what's going on. That was about monitoring, and it's 2 o'clock, guys. So we're gonna cover containerization, so containers, and Kubernetes next class, as well as we're gonna start the security course and start covering security topics in next class as well. Okay, guys. So see you next week, and have a nice weekend. Sometimes it gets overwhelmingly boring. I know. So I just wanted to put a link there as well. Okay, I'll just grab from here. Azure monitor overview and Azure monitor overview, and then we copy this for a good read. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so yeah, this is something that we're gonna cover next week. Transition. Okay, guys, see you next week. Bye bye.